Good evening, everyone. The appointed time has arrived. This is April 3rd, 2024. This is the meeting of the Mashpee Planning Board here at Town Hall in Wacoit Room, 16 Great Neck Road North, Mashpee, Mass. I welcome everyone tonight. We're being broadcast live on local Channel 8 and streamed live on the Town of Mashpee website. If you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with
liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have the minutes of the meeting of March 20th, 24. Does anyone, I will take a motion to accept the minutes of this meeting as presented or amended.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? No, seeing as there's none, how do you vote?
Aye.
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 Okay.
Can we postpone the next set of minutes? I haven't read them.
Pardon me?
Can we table the next set of minutes to our next meeting? I haven't read them.
Okay, so motion to table the
Haven't read them.
minutes of
The select.
December 18th, the joint meeting with the Select Board and the Planning Board until our next meeting, which will be April 17th.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Sorry. Okay, before I ask for public comment, our town manager has given me permission to read what he's written, and you're going to hear this memorandum multiple times, but, you know, the more you hear it, the more you understand it. With that, I'll read it. In just over 1 month, residents of Mashpee will have the opportunity to decide whether to authorize funding for Phase 2 of the wastewater management and clean water plan initiated in 2015. Many people have had questions relative to the scope of this project and its cost. At times, the technical elements of the project overwhelm people, and this has led to confusion and at times compounding questions. I prefer to provide a simple perspective and brief summary of pertinent information. I recently met with folks from Envision Mashpee and the Clean Water Coalition. It was suggested that this critical timing was necessary to provide voters with an informed path toward town meeting May 6, 2024. First and foremost, Article 6 of the special town meeting will rescind the previously authorized borrowing at the October 16, 2023 town meeting in the amount of $4.5 million. Article 4 of the annual town meeting will authorize the town to fund $96.1 million to complete Phase 2. The scope of the plan and specific roads involved can be found at the Town of Mashpee website. Click on the Clean Water tab. At the top of the page, you can review the roads covered by Phase 2. What most people ask is, what will this cost them? After consultation with the finance team, the wastewater management superintendent, engineers, and others, it is important to provide a good faith estimate based upon reasonable and realistic projections. I have consistently strived to minimize the impact on the property tax rate paid by Mashpee citizens. Therefore, all available funding sources have been utilized to lower the amount to be assessed to the levy through a debt exclusion in May. My debt service plan relies on the following. 1, obtaining a 0% state revolving fund or SRF loan. Mashpee's eligibility for this loan was confirmed by a DEP letter last week and is contingent on our continued compliance with the flow-neutral bylaw and voter approval of the project in May. 2, 25% principal debt relief from the Cape and Islands Water Protection Fund, written confirmation of which was received last week. 3, 3.3 principal forgiveness provided by the Mass Clean Water Trust per their regulations and formula. 4, using all future projected revenue not already committed to prior debt service from the WIF and the Wastewater Stabilization Fund, consistent with conservative estimates for revenue growth and developed internally. 5, tapping the levy for a property tax increase based only on the debt service not covered by the revenue streams above. The bottom line is that I expect the Phase 2 property tax increase averaged over the 30-year life of the SRF loan to be about $75 per year for the average residential valued home, which is roughly $772,000 in Mashpee. To put it in simple terms, this is likely to cost less than an expensive cup of coffee per week. I would further point out that the debt payments on Phase 2 will not commence until fiscal 2029 at the earliest. This project will not have a fiscal impact on the tax rate for almost 5 years, during which time we will have the opportunity to adjust our payment approach to further reduce tax impacts if revenues exceed the conservative projections. This estimate does not include any operational adjustments or increases. Unless the Select Board has any objections, this will be the information delivered to the Sewer Commission at tomorrow's special meeting, which was yesterday, and this guidance should be distributed to provide voters with information in preparation for town meeting. And I will add that after he read it at the Select Board meeting, there was quite a bit of applause. So I guess people are happy with the $75 a year uptick in taxes projected. Okay, so thank you for that. Anyone else want to speak? Yes, Arden, public comment.
Thank you.
You got one?
Hi, good evening. Arden Russell, Sturgis Lane. Thank you, Madam Chair, for reading that statement. That's actually related to my first comment. I wanted to bring to everybody's attention that the town manager had just made this statement to both the Select Board and the Sewer Commission that our SRF funding is contingent on compliance with our flow-neutral bylaw. I see that as a mandate from him to all departments, boards, and committees in order to protect our SRF funding. In that case, this board cannot possibly approve the proposal by Willow Bend for their Cranberry Point project and still comply with our existing flow-neutral bylaw. You're attempting to issue a permit for more bedrooms than are currently allowed, and even your draft permit conditions acknowledge that they're asking for more bedrooms than is currently allowed. Additionally, after your last meeting with the building commissioner, we all now know that permit conditions are meaningless. He doesn't read the permit, he ignores the conditions. Conditioning this permit might make this board feel good, but we know it's not a real solution or protection because there is no confidence that any of those conditions are going to be enforced by our building commissioner. Conditions in Mashpee are pointless. I handed to each of you a section of Mashpee zoning bylaw which lists the required findings for issuance of a special permit. It clearly defines the criteria that each permit must meet in order to receive a positive determination. In my opinion, there is no way in good conscience that you can make a positive determination meeting those criteria for the Cranberry Point project. And then just personally, I'm really deeply disappointed in many of you on this board. You publicly speak in favor of environmental protection. You advocate for increased setbacks to wetlands. You speak in opposition of increased density in order to protect our degraded waters, and you run as clean water candidates. And then when you have the opportunity to act on those values, it appears you're going to fail. Again, just deeply disappointed. Thank you.
Madam Chair, just a point of order.
Pardon me?
Just a point of order.
Yes.
As you go through public comment.
Just want to remind the board that the public hearing on this matter has been closed.
Yes,
So no additional testimony pertaining to the
Yes.
application can be considered as you deliberate on the project.
so we cannot talk any further because we've closed the meeting on issues related to this. Only the-
Anyone can provide any comment they desire. I'm just saying for the purposes of your deliberation, you shouldn't consider any additional testimony.
So we can still have public comment on this, but not consider it?
That is up to you, Madam Chair. I just want to remind you of that fact.
Okay, then I'm going to stop the public comment now.
No,
No.
no.
I'm not suggesting you stop the public comment.
Well,
I'm just reminding the
it's kind
board
of here,
that,
it's like the toothpaste is out of the tube, so it's hard not to
I'm just
hear it.
reminding the board that the public hearing has been closed.
So you can't, what he's saying is you can still have public comment, you just can't let it change your mind when you deliberate.
That's kind of an oxymoron, really, because
but-
Let them speak, the people.
You've already let one?
so I've let one, so I guess I have to let another. Okay, come on up.
Well, okay, so now I have a number of public comments, not even what I've handed you. You cannot tell people what they can and can't say in public comment.
Right.
If I want to sit here and pick my nose during public comment, I can do that.
All right, move on, let's just get, let me hear what you have to
You cannot tell
say.
me to move on, Karen. You
Madam Chair.
cannot do that.
I wasn't suggesting we restrict anyone's comment. I'm just merely reminding you in my professional capacity that the public hearing has been
So
closed
one
and
of
you
the
can't
things
consider
I'm
this
going to say
testimony.
right now is, the procedure that happened during this public hearing is atrocious. So many rules and regulations were broken that I am just appalled. We know, Madam Chairman, that you had a private, off-the-record meeting with the project proponents. You did not do that with the permission of your board. You did not do that at the direction of your board, and
Okay,
there
I want
are
to
no
stop this right
notes.
now, because this is putting an idea in the head of the public. This has
I am
already
allowed
been
to do
resolved.
that.
This has already been resolved. A letter, if you'd paid attention, you would have read my letter that I sent to the planning
I
board
did.
on that. So
I
don't
did.
say that it has not been
It's
resolved.
not
I
resolved.
did not,
I wouldn't engage.
I,
I would just
need
listen.
I'm
to
not,
let me
I'm not,
finish.
I'm not going to engage.
You need to let me finish what I'm here to say. There have been numerous egregious problems connected to this, just like that. I asked for notes and was told I could not have notes for that meeting. Therefore, we have no idea what went on in that meeting. You, Mr. Richardson, said at the very beginning of this public hearing that you golfed there and you were voting in favor of it because you golfed there. You need, well, we'll go back and look at it. I remember it. I was shocked. You should recuse yourself because you've already said you have a personal connection to the project proponents. You can't be doing this. The subject of my talk tonight is deny without prejudice. And there are many reasons why you should deny without prejudice. You've just heard two. Willow Bend Development Corporation must provide a comprehensive water pollution analysis before the Mashpee Planning Board can consider granting a special permit modification that would allow said corporation to construct an additional 12 cottage-style homes on 4 acres adjacent to its golf course property. The proposed expansion will significantly increase groundwater pollution in the adjacent Papaneset Bay and Quaker Run watersheds. Willow Bend claims that this will not be the case. However, by law, they must now prove that before the planning board can judiciously decide whether or not to grant the special permit. Given the already degraded water quality in these abatements, allowing additional high-density development without carefully evaluating the water quality impacts would directly conflict with the Wetlands Protection Law and the groundwater quality objectives of the Massachusetts General Bylaws. Let's look at regulatory context. You're a lawyer, let's do that. Sections 174 and 174.20 and 174.32 of the general bylaws establish specific performance standards to protect the town's drinking water supplies and coastal embayments from nitrogen contamination. I'll let you read that legislation. It's not me, those are the bylaws, or that's the Massachusetts statement. Excess pollutants can fuel severe algal blooms leading to low dissolved oxygen, fish kills, and loss of recreational uses. The Massachusetts Estuaries Project and other studies have extensively documented how these pollutants have degraded Mashpee's embayments and have set aggressive pollution reduction targets to restore these water bodies to health. Let me repeat, the legislation calls for pollution reduction, not increase. The development will inevitably increase water pollution. Mashpee has invested more than 15 years into developing a comprehensive management plan to protect its water resources. The plan received state approval in 2015. It relies on an adaptive management approach that combines innovative strategies like shellfish aquaculture with targeted expansion of traditional water infrastructure. But its success depends on carefully evaluating and controlling new sources of pollutants so that reduction gains are not undermined by additional growth. The Secretary of Energy and Environmental Affairs certificate approving the town's wastewater plan makes that clear. No development, regardless of its proposed wastewater treatment, should be improved unless it can definitely prove that it will not jeopardize these irreplaceable resources. Let me repeat that. Definitely prove that it will not jeopardize these irreplaceable resources. This means that even projects connecting to a sewer cannot simply assume compliance. Ergo, the burden of proof is not on the town, but on the project proponents. Not on the town, but on the project proponents. They must do the work ahead of time, well before the town can approve their project. They must do their due diligence. In this particular case, they most definitely have not done so. The Willow Bend property adjoins several water bodies that are critically impaired by nitrogen loading. These waters all significantly exceed their nitrogen limits. In the Papaneset Bay system, nitrogen must be reduced by 54%, from 34 to 15 kilograms per day. In the Santuit system, including Quaker Run, a 423% reduction is required. Let me repeat that. 423% reduction is required. I didn't make up that number. Ergo, Willow Bend has a problem. Here's what the corporation's Troy Miller says in his 2023 letter. These 14 units, and I know they've reduced it to 12, but I'm quoting, will be serviced by the Willow Bend wastewater treatment system under the terms of the DEP groundwater discharge permit. By treating the effluent from the project at the plant, total nitrogen loading for the 14 units will be 50% less than if the site were to be developed independently as 3 single units. The applicant suggests that by connecting to the existing wastewater plant, rather than using individual septic systems, the project will have an acceptable nitrogen impact. This claim is unsubstantiated by any actual loading data or modeling. This is a claim that has not been backed up at all. Simply comparing planned homes to an imaginary alternative of 3 septic systems is not a valid basis for approving a major increase in density, with all its concomitant polluting effects like destroying trees, bushes, and other natural plant systems and wastewater flow. I've given you all papers here, and I ask a number of questions and explains why I've asked the questions. The questions have not been answered. Who has the burden of proof here? Who has the burden of proof? The burden of proof is on Willow Bend because of this legislation to answer these questions and affirmatively demonstrate through rigorous modeling that its expansion will not add to the town's nutrient liability. It is not sufficient to simply claim a connection to the existing treatment plant will minimize impacts. Actual data on the mass loading, plume mitigation, and water impacts are required. Mashpee officials and the public need this information to make an informed judgment about the project's consistency with the town's watershed nitrogen plan and water resource protection bylaws. In summary, Willabend's requested special permit modification will result in a substantial increase in density and intensity of use that will definitely have significant water quality impacts. The planning board must demand a detailed site-specific nitrogen loading analysis, as the project is located in a highly sensitive environmental setting where even the smallest increase will jeopardize restoration efforts. The Secretary's certificate makes clear that the town must rigorously evaluate all development for consistency with its compliant plan. This is not optional. This is the law. So I'd just like to thank Mary Wagon in particular for her diligence on this effort over maybe the last year or so. We wouldn't even know these things were going on if she didn't do so much homework at home over the weekend. I know she does that. I want to thank her. I think she's a terrific planning board member. I'm allowed to say publicly I'm voting for her for planning board. And I'd like to thank the rest of you, too, for the service that you do in various ways.
Okay. Yes, do you want to speak as a private citizen or in what
No,
capacity?
he's not a citizen.
Quickly, I would just,
Please give your name for the people.
Jack McElhenney, this is out of order. This board is, the public hearing is closed. It went on for well over a year. I have no objection to debating these comments, but this board is allowing the public record, which has been established over a year, to be tainted by comments after the public record has been closed. And if we were sitting in a court of law, the judge would likely say, that should be stricken from the record. I understand the intent to allow people to speak at public comment, but that cannot be a subterfuge for advocating a position when the project proponent and the public is not on notice that that's occurring tonight. So this is a bad practice. You should consult town council about its appropriateness, because it is completely tainting the public record here and invalidating any record evidence put before this board before that. So I would just caution the board to not accept this.
Thank you.
Madam.
Okay,
Let's
let's
go
see
to-
now, we're coming to the public hearing, and Evan, our town planner, has to recuse himself, correct?
In the matter of Mr. Jonquera?
Yeah.
I do, yes, I have a conflict of interest and need to leave the room.
Okay, and Mary, you're in a butter?
I'm in a butter. I live at 35 Ashumet Road, so I see some of my neighbors here. But I have to recuse myself because I'm in a butter. And that's how the ethics laws work in Massachusetts, so excuse me.
Thank you.
So we have sufficient people. Rob will be seated for this hearing. Rob Hanson. Okay, I'll read the agenda first, and then I'll read the public notice. The applicant is Joe, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing, Junquera, 474 Main Street, map 27-21A, and 31 Ashumet Road, map 2721B. For the request, applicant proposes to construct a 4,752 square
Do we
foot
have-
commercial building for retail sales of water-related products with indoor and outdoor storage.
You don't have an easel?
Mashpee Planning Board Public Hearing Notice. Pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40A, the Massachusetts Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024, at 7:10 p.m. in the Wacoit Meeting Room at the Mashpee Town Hall, 16 Great Neck Road North, to consider an application by Mr. Junqueira, property owner, requesting a special permit to construct and operate a 4,752 square foot commercial building for retail sale of plumbing and water-related products with accessory storage at a current vacant property addressed at 31 Ashumet Road /474 Main Street, Mashpee, Mass. 02649. Assessors map 27-21A and 27-21B. The subject lot is located predominantly in the C3 Limited Commercial Zoning District, with portions of the parcel bisected by the R5 zoning districts, and is located within the Groundwater Protection District and Light Industrial Overlay District. This petition is made pursuant to the Mashpee zoning bylaw sections 174-24, paren C, close paren 1, paren close, 174-25E13, 174-45.6D, and Article 13, Groundwater Protection District, and 174-25.1, Standards for Developments in C3 Districts. Mr. Pesci, I'm going to go through what's included in this packet, and if you would be so kind to tell us, to the best of your knowledge, if it's a complete package.
All right.
We have an application for special permit dated February 12, 2024, 2 adjoining parcels on 40,442 square feet, and one has 58,298 square feet. Checks from Cape Wide Construction to the town of Mashpee totaling $5,525. 2 quitclaim deeds conveying this land in question to Mr., let me make sure I'm saying this right, Junqueira. Is it Junqueira? Anybody know? Yes? Okay. Then we have the proposed site plan development, which we have bigger copies if anyone here on the board wants to see a bigger one. And then we have a very extensive drainage analysis report. And then we have Mr. Pesci's engineering report on the matter, which we'll come back to. So with that said,
One additional item,
is
Madam
there
Chair.
something missing?
Architectural plans were submitted as well. Floor plans and elevations of the
Oh,
proposed building.
okay, yes, you're correct. Thank you. So we'll have the party proponent come up. Okay, the agent.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, and Mr. Pesci. For the record, Attorney Christopher Carrain. I'm representing Joel Junqueira. He's the owner of the properties located at 31 Ashumet and 474 Main Street. Before we begin, I just want to make one point of clarification. There was an error in the size of the building. It's a 6,000 square foot building, not a 4,700 square foot building. So if the board were to make a motion to approve it, I would just want to make sure that that's is addressed. So it's a 6,000 square foot building. Commercial building. So as noted in the public hearing notice, the applicant is proposing a commercial building within the C3 zoning district, and as noted, a portion of this property is located in the R3 zoning district. It's the bottom corner of the property. If you look at the site plan,
Can you lift that up? Thank you.
It's this corner right here, that's in the R5, I'm sorry. Everything above that is in the C3 zoning.
And Chris, could you tell us the streets, exactly what we're looking at there?
So you have Ashumet Road down here and Main Street up here.
And the entrance to the building is,
Would be off of Ashumet.
okay.
And also, the lot is located in the light industrial overlay district, as well as the groundwater protection district. With me tonight is Robert Duar. He is with Bracken Engineering, is the engineer for the project. Also with me is Joel Genquera and Roger Brooks from Cape White Construction, who will be the general contractor. And also with me tonight are representatives of EJ Prescott, who is the potential end user for the building. They have a location in Mashpee already. They've been in town for 20 years, and they're looking for a permanent structure that they own. So they're the potential end user for the building. The C3 zoning district has the following minimum dimensional requirements: lot area 40,000 square feet, frontage 200 square feet, front yard setback of 75 feet, rear yard setbacks of 20 feet, side yard setback of 20 feet, lot coverage of 20%. The lot is 90,000 square feet and has over 200 feet of frontage on Main Street and over 259 feet on Ashumet Road. So both of those are within the minimum dimensional requirements of the C3 zoning district. The proposed structure will be 76 feet from Main Street, which is conforming. The proposed structure will be 245 feet from Ashumet, which will be conforming. The building will be 107 feet from the southerly side yard setback and 21 feet from the northerly side setback. Lot coverage is 6.1%, so well under the 20% maximum allowed in this zoning district. The project has been reviewed by site plan review, which is a composition of all the department heads, including Board of Health, Planning, Fire, Police, Board of Health, and DPW and Building. There are 9 parking spaces proposed, including 1 handicap space that meets the requirements for the zoning bylaw. Again, there will be 1 access to, which will be off of Ashumet Road. There will be no traffic entering or exiting onto Main Street. If you look at the colored photo, all that dark green will remain natural. So we're not touching any of that. So you do have some pretty substantial natural buffer that will be remaining. The orange may be disturbed, but that will be replanted. And then obviously you have the structure and pavement that shows in the middle. Next week, the project will also have to go through the historic district because it is within the historic district in Mashpee. So it will be being reviewed for architectural next week. Again, as we noted, the prospective end user is EJ Prescott. They provide products related to water service, stormwater, wastewater. No hazardous materials are going to be stored on site. We have filed under 17425E3, which is a place for retail and wholesale of plumbing supplies. So that is allowed in the C3 district with upon the grant of a special permit by this board. The special permit criteria for this board is that, the project complies with all state and town regulations and bylaws. Again, we meet all the zoning bylaw requirements for minimum dimensional requirements for this lot. Will not adversely affect the public health and safety. Again, they have an existing operation on Industrial Drive. We're not aware of any issues or incidents with what's going on there now, and it'll be a similar use to what that is. No excessive demand on community facilities. Again, existing, hasn't caused any problems. It's not in any conservation jurisdiction, so we're not going to be affecting any wetland resource areas. We've provided stormwater management. We don't impact, and again, the representatives from EJ Prescott can talk about the existing use of the property. We don't anticipate there's any, going to be any traffic issues for this project. There's not going to be big trucks coming in and out of it. You know, you mostly see contractors with pickup trucks, you know, at maybe the peak times. So, but again, we're not seeing big trucks going in and out. It's one end user. So I want to make that clear. It's not we're not asking for a contractor bay building with multiple tenants, with multiple landscapers going in and out. It's a one end user. And again, no excessive noise, vibrations. There's been no complaints that they're existing. And, you know, we don't expect any adverse impact on neighboring properties. This lot is a vacant lot. It's in between the office buildings at the corner of Schumann and Main Street, and on the other side is the contractor yard landscaping mulch operation. So we're right in between those. So, you know, we're not that far down the street from the projects at, you know, the subdivisions at Nicoletta's Way, Echo Road, and Evergreen Circle. So, you know, again, where those have multiple users, you know, we only have one end user in this particular project. So, you know, with that, I'm happy to turn it over to the board for any questions of anybody on our development team. Again, you know, we have a lot of people here who can answer any questions about the project, about EJ Prescott, et cetera.
I think the problem with the mistake about the 6,000 square feet, if I'm remembering it from design review, it was like 4,700 and something.
Right.
For the warehouse, and then 1,200 and something
For
the
a showroom, correct.
So combined, it's the 6,000, so it's under 10,000.
That's correct.
Okay.
I mean, it's under, you know, typically our triggers are 10,000 square feet for Cape Cod Commission, 7,500 square feet for a sprinkler system. You know, you're looking at a 6,000 square foot building, which is probably one of the smaller buildings that you'll see. You know, everybody's pushing the 7,500 square foot limits. Everybody's pushing the 10,000 square foot limits. You know, we're not doing this here. Again, you know, lot coverage is 6.1%. So they could certainly have proposed a larger building, but they're not doing that. They're, you know, going for the size that, you know, works for them.
In the, just a minute, standards for development in C3 districts under section 174-25.1, which I know you know. Number 5, I do not remember something that Evan said, and I want to just clear this up. It reads, signage, lighting, and any noisy or odorous activity shall be located so as not to have any significant adverse impact on adjacent or nearby residentially zoned parcels.
Right.
Has the lighting design been done?
I don't know if it's been completed yet. We generally, you know, Rob could talk about that, but, you know, all the projects that I've worked with Cape Wide, they always do the dark, you know, as Ed had recommended, the dark lights.
Okay.
So that's what will be proposed, and,
Okay.
you know, we're going to meet those requirements.
Okay. Let me think here. Well, we don't have to go through the colors and all that, because
Right.
I'm familiar, but
Right.
the front part facing 1/3, not the front, the side facing 130 or Main Street is clapboard,
Correct.
and the rest are shingles on all the other sides.
Right, so this isn't going to be like your typical metal building that you see on Echo or Evergreen, because we're in the historic district, so we have to comply with the historic district. So that's why you're going to see more of the Cape Cod shingles and, you know, clapboard and things of that nature.
And I read that with commercial buildings, you don't have what's called a tight tank, you have a holding tank.
Right.
And where does that holding tank go?
I'll turn that question over to Rob.
Okay. And is there any difference between the two of them?
Right.
There is. Good evening. Again, Robert DeWar with Bracken Engineering here on behalf of the design team. The holding tank is required, and it's not part of the septic system. That'd be connected to the floor drains in the building. Anytime that there is like a overhead garage door, that any potential of a vehicle entering the building requires all floor drains to be connected to a holding tank. So then that can be pumped out. There's no leaching field or anything. It's actually a double-walled tank, so there's no potential for leakage. And then there's an alarm assigned to that at 75% capacity. And when that happens, they have an appropriate pumping truck come and pump it out.
So that'll happen multiple times during the year?
Potentially in this usage, because they are only selling really like plumbing equipment, piping, likely they may go many years without pumping it out. Other uses, an automotive shop might pump theirs out, often. But we wouldn't anticipate that here.
Right. I mean, and again, if there's any questions for E.J. Prescott, but my understanding is they have one pickup truck, a one-ton pickup truck, and a forklift.
Yeah.
That's their, the substance of the vehicles they use on site. So I don't expect that they're going to have, much need to be pumping the holding tank on a, frequent
Let me just
basis.
go back to you. You kind of went a little fast.
Sorry.
I just want to know in section 174-25.1, which is the C3 district, do you respond positively to each and every item here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? A minimum of 40%, I heard that, of the site shall be left in an undisturbed natural state. No building shall exceed 20,000 square feet of gross floor area.
Yeah.
Except a congregate care assisted living facility of less than 2 stories. I won't go into that.
Yeah, we're not, we're a 6,000 square foot building. We only have one driveway access. There's no wetlands there. Signage and lighting, obviously, we're going to keep that all on site. I can let Rob address the 40%, is that meeting the?
Yep, this is the 40% undisturbed.
Left in undisturbed.
Yes, we do have less than 40% disturbed area of the lot. I believe that calculation is shown on the plan. I'd have to double check that.
Is the orange the disturbed part?
So the orange is temporarily disturbed, and then it gets restored back at the end of construction. It has to be disturbed just to allow some of the grading for the site.
And there's no off-street, all off-street parking facilities are within the, within the lot.
Okay. Who would like to speak on the board?
Any question with the R3? Do we have to have that changed from our residential, or is that okay?
I don't know.
I mean, there's nothing proposed within the R3 part of this.
Yeah,
I mean, everything's.
Okay, show us where the
Yeah, the
R3 is.
Yeah, it's just, the R3's in this triangle right here.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
which
it's
is
all
going to be,
natural state, everything here, and all this is all, within the C3.
Just a portion of the
so
driveway.
only
Which is the
that back
driveway, right?
part there
Right.
is,
The driveway.
is R3?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I believe the bylaw says that if a majority of the lot is in one district, you basically consider it the whole district. But again, there's nothing proposed within that residential part of the district.
Okay, very good.
There's nothing proposed right now, but what about 5 years from now? And somebody wants to buy that to put some house in it, that's possible, right?
I doubt it, because you'd have to subdivide the lot. I don't think you could, I mean, I
What
don't
size
predict the
is that?
future, but I don't think you could do that, so.
What is the dimension of that green space there in R3?
Yeah, I don't know, but they're using the lot, I mean, they need the lot size for this building, so, and there's no residential proposed for this project. They'd have to come before either the zoning board or the planning board, so I don't know that it's really relevant to tonight's, discussion.
All right, the second floor, I say it says a loft, but limited access to it. What's gonna be up there? What's gonna be up in the loft? Is it the store's product, or is it gonna be apartment?
No, there's no residential proposed. So what we're asking for is under 174-25 for a retail housing. We have not asked for any residential type components, so that's not before this board. We haven't asked for it.
Then I see you have two bathrooms. And how come you're going on a Title V system? I thought you had to do an alternative system now. And
But
they-
not with the tank.
Now,
You can have, are you saying you can have the, is Title V a tank? I don't know, holding
Title
tank.
V is,
Holding tank,
yeah, but that's.
That's the existing septic
Trying
tank.
to limit them now.
yeah,
They don't want you to use them no more.
Yeah.
And I thought we just passed something that you had.
well, we're not near any wetland resource areas. A lot of times if you're within X amount of feet of a wetland resource area, it requires those, but I don't know that there's any
So there's
requirement.
you still can apply for Title V for
We
this
can.
building then?
We can, as long as your nitrogen loading for the lot parcel is low enough, and in this case, because
two
the
bathrooms.
overall flow, it's not residential, there's only a couple employees there on site, so the overall loading of the site and especially with how large the site is, we don't need the innovative alternative technology.
And another thing, I see you're gonna put some
Let me let Ed, Ed address
I'm
that.
just going to, yes, for the record, I'm Ed Pesci, Pesci Engineering, the consulting engineer for the board. Just Rob is correct. So your discussion that was had before about the, controlling the flow, wastewater flow, generally it's 1 bedroom per 10,000 square feet, right? So if we were putting residential here, you have 98,000 square feet here, you could put 9 bedrooms here, okay? But a standard single-family home residential system is 330 gallons a day, 3-bedroom. It's not, the design flow is 213 gallons per day. So there's no issue whatsoever with the way that
All right.
the septic system is designed, and take the comfort and confidence that they still got to go to the to the Board of Health
All right.
to gain approval both for the septic and for the holding, the holding tank.
Okay, my other question is, I see you're gonna put some trees back. But I'd like to see a prep with what you actually gotta plant there. You know, what type of trees and how many, and how you're gonna do it along the Schumett Road. How you gonna make it look, like residential.
Well, I mean, along a Schumett Road, there really isn't anything that's being disturbed.
Okay.
Because I said, all that dark green is not being disturbed. And then you have the retaining basin, for lack of a better term, in the bottom right-hand corner. But a lot of that's being left natural,
Okay.
so.
And just to, I think Mr. Pesci had, one of his comments was actually on a Schumett Road. Some of that foliage may need to be pruned and trimmed just to allow sight distance for turning, because there is a curve there, so. So, yeah.
But I like to see shrubbery diagrams, what you gotta plant and.
Correct.
so
Well, the idea
people that
there, I
live
think,
there
right
know
now
what
is
it's
to
gonna
leave
look
sort,
like,
yeah, we want to leave as much of a natural buffer
I
there
hope so,
as well.
that's a good idea.
Right.
So as you come out of Schumett and you say turn left on 130, you want a good sighting, to be able to look out there and not create an accident. So the corner will have very low bushes, I'm presuming?
Correct. Well,
It's quite a
will
ways
be
away.
enough, like, we won't be affecting the corner of a Schumett and Main Street at all.
You will not be affecting?
No,
even
we're not on
though-
the corner of Main Street.
Further down.
So there's another property, if you look. So we're coming out here, there's the office buildings that are here, those are on the corner of 130.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is still a Schumett, and Schumett runs all the way to
Oh,
130.
okay.
So we're not turning on, people would come onto a Schumett and then get onto Main Street after traversing
I
the
see.
Schumett.
Okay,
Past
good.
this development.
Thanks for
That
clarifying
office
that.
building space.
Dale, do you have a question?
No questions. I'm just, I think my main thing would be here was across the street from Schumann, there's homes. There's people who have houses. There's a neighborhood. In my mind, I'm just kind of wondering how this kind of affects their homes, their day-to-day. That's just my first thought that jumps up.
I had a question similar
Yes,
to Dale's.
Rob?
In that you're leaving a lot, I would say, compared to what other plans show, a lot of natural vegetation. And thank you for doing that. The question is outside storage, pipes, so forth. I've seen evidence of pallets of pipes on top of pallets. How high is your maximum stack of outside stored materials, and will the natural foliage screen it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd have to defer to the representatives from EJ on what they actually store and how they do that. But again, I mean, you're looking at probably storage, the building itself is, you're looking at 245.
Quite a ways
plus
back,
feet
yeah.
back from the Schumett Road, and then you have all this natural vegetation there. I think there's, it's likely to have sufficient screening. And, and as far as, the effect on the residential neighborhood, I mean, we are located in the C3 zoning district, so that is a district that allows for commercial. And, it's not like it's the only building there that has commercial use, in proximity to that. We do think that this is gonna be a low impact, project and use, so.
Another thing I like to ask, when you do have a trailer come in with the pipes and everything, can you schedule it to be at a certain time? So it's not coming in at like lunchtime or, I don't know if you can do that.
Yeah, I mean, I drove by
I don't want the
their,
neighbors-
I drove by their property at 2 o'clock this afternoon, and there was no, I didn't see one truck coming in and out of there, so.
All right, I just don't want the neighbors to say trucks are coming.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's, again, this, E.J. Prescott has been in this town for almost 20 years.
they did.
And, I think they're sensitive to those, any of those issues. And happy, I know Ed suggested a stop sign at the turn there. But again, it's not like we're just sticking a commercial building in the middle of a residential zone and we're the only building there.
Mr. Pesci, did you do a peer review?
I did, Madam Chair, and you all have a copy of the report. It was finished recently, as you know. I just will state that I made some comments that I think were relatively easy for them to comply with, relatively minor, some general safety things like we've talked about, dark sky compliant lighting, stop line and stop sign at the end of the driveway. Why? Because it's a retail store as well, so the general public will have access. So wanted to make sure that was prepared. We just talked about some pruning and clearing at the end of the driveway on the edges of Mashpee Road where their driveway is, because when I went out on the site visit and looked at the safe site distance, today, with no leaves, it's a lot easier, but I know darn well when I get out there in spring, it'll be different. So we needed to make sure, certainly looking to the left or toward the east, that area be cleared. It's a lot safer sight distance, longer sight distance to the west, but to the east, I felt like that was something we needed to worry about on site. I will certainly be mindful of that when we go out to do inspections. I also included a common comment that I use because I feel like it helps the board with final decision-making, and that is getting comment from the Mashpee Fire Department regarding safe circulation through the site with emergency vehicles and/or whether or not they want anything else of particular need from a fire safety point of view. They may ask for what's called the swept path analysis for, since a two-story two-story building, they may want to have a fire truck, the ladder truck swept path analysis. So that's fairly standard, Rob. And it looks like you get more than adequate room to do that. So I don't anticipate any issue there. We did talk a little bit about holding tank versus tight tank, so I just wanted, I have to confess, I was admonished by a health agent one time years ago, saying it's not a tight tank, it's a holding tank. Holding tank is classified as a holding tank by the state under 314 CMR 18. It's an industrial wastewater holding tank. So tight tank is only referred to as a tight tank when it's domestic wastewater, when it's wastewater under Title V. So there's no wastewater going there. It's snow melt off of vehicles and perhaps some rainwater that might enter the overhead door, or something else that might be accumulate on the floor. I don't think they're going to, from the use they're having, as long as they're not washing vehicles inside, I don't anticipate them filling that tight tank, that holding tank at all during the course of a year. But I asked them to add a few more things to comply with the code for that, which they certainly won't have any problem doing. And finally, I did mention a couple of items. Some of them were small items on stormwater management. One of them was that they consider the use of the NOAA Atlas 14, Volume 10, Version 3, point precipitation data. It's the state-of-the-art, and NOAA has basically become the state-of-the-art in our profession now. This Atlas 14 recognizes the reality of climate change and looks at all the storm events that have happened in the recent years and adjusts the 100-year storm event to a current, frequency analysis of it. So years ago, just to give you the idea, and that's why I put it in the report, years ago, the 100-year storm used to be 7 inches in 24 hours. That was the 100-year storm event for Mashpee. Now it's 7.52 inches. Geez, it went up higher. Wouldn't we know? That's what happens, right? So that's what's going on right now. That's our reality. So I asked them to consider that. That's not a very big change in the overall. That's a percentage from 7 to 7.5, 7.52. So it would require them to just run the calculations again and to adjust the size of their collection system, their stormwater management system. However, their stormwater management system that they're using to collect the runoff from the parking lot will adequately perform the total suspended solids removal as required in a Zone 2 or a water protection overlay district, groundwater protection overlay district adequately. I don't see any problem. The final item that I mentioned there was a few housekeeping things that I'd asked them to just put signatures and dates on documents and add a inspection log for their stormwater O&M plan. But really, I found their design to be pretty straightforward, pretty well done, and I didn't see any major problems with it.
Would we be ready to vote on this tonight, or is there something we should look at and ask that they complete before we make a decision?
Madam Chair, I've done this with a few other communities. As you know, Nantucket, I'll just use the example. Nantucket will use the example. If the board has got their questions answered and is satisfied with what's being presented, then they can condition the approval, vote on an approval tonight with responding to and satisfying all the Pesci engineering comments. And I refer to that right in the decision. So if you want, you could do that. If you feel comfortable with that, I would want them to, again, go see the fire department, the assistant fire chief, deputy chief, and speak to them about whatever comments they may have. And that can be in the form of a letter or an email, either one. But I can certainly work with the Bracken team to make sure that they respond. And that I will respond in writing that all those comments have been satisfied, so they can go get a building permit. After they get all the other permits, they can go get a building permit. So I would certainly want that to be.
I apologize, what is your name again?
Sure. Again, it's Robert DeWar with Bracken Engineering.
Robert DeWarn.
Yep.
You've read Mr. Pesci's
Yeah,
report?
we have. We did receive that last night, and I've actually was unable to have a finished version to bring tonight, but I mean, we've already addressed 90% of the comments on the review. I think the only one that I'm still working through is, and we have no problem updating the storm event for the waste stormwater. I think what will happen is you'll see that rain garden increase in size just a little bit.
There's nothing that you won't do.
You're going to comply with whatever
Exactly.
Mr. Pesci wrote?
We can fully comply with the review comments, yep.
And then I would just note one thing. As part of the regulatory process in Mashpee, we go to what's called site plan review. And at that meeting, you have the fire department there. Fire department participated in that site plan review process. So, we're certainly happy to continue to follow up, but they didn't have any problems with what we presented.
We'd like to see a letter from them, though.
No, absolutely. I completely understand, but I just
right, yeah.
want to make sure.
I should have asked for site plan review comments, but I don't always get them.
I do have the minutes with me.
Yeah, sometimes they don't publish the minutes before this meeting, so I don't even know if they've had a meeting.
Right, we did.
Right, so.
But we have no problem following up with the fire department if that's what's conditioned.
Yeah.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Just that, could you, I know you've been to the Historic Society?
Next week.
No, we're
Next
going
week?
next week.
Yep.
And my question, maybe you could just talk to the signage, where and how large and how visible it will be, and from which directions and so forth.
So there's no signage proposed as of right now. So if the end user eventually proposes signage, that would have to go through the design review process. But
And the historical.
And historic, yes, correct, and historic, so, but no signage is proposed as of today.
But how would you know you're there? If you have a sales room?
Well, the building isn't finished yet, they could always go at a later date. So that's all. They just haven't done it yet. They could certainly do it, prior to the building being utilized.
My safe site distance comment mentioned that they're obviously going to have some kind of sign at that entrance, and the safe site distance has to be considered where that gets placed so that it doesn't obstruct the view looking left or right.
Well, I'm on the design review committee, so I know the size, the dimensional requirements, and it can't obstruct anything. There's a whole bunch of things. So it's not going to be offensive if and when they put a sign to identify the building. But that's a good question without a sign.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
How would one know?
Right, but right now, as I said, we're not proposing any site at this time because, they may, a lot of times you see that, they'll come later on when the building's, near completion to know where they want to put signs and things of that nature.
I wonder if you want to put one like on 130. I mean, because if they have a Insured Road, I'm driving down and there, where the heck is that plumbing shop?
Right.
Unless I see it, you know.
Well, again, it's not a Home Depot, it's not a Batello's, so.
People know where you are.
Yeah, it's really more geared towards, contractors, so you're not going to see, this influx of individual homeowners coming into this property, because, as I said, it's not like that. It's not that type of intensity of use.
Actually, when you look at the facades, different facades of the building, this one here, if I recall, the one on the left, that's what you see on 130, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, and because it's not like one of those contractor bays,
Correct.
it actually looks like, kind of like a house.
Right.
Yeah, right.
So it's aesthetically.
Right.
It's pretty nice.
And again, you're going to be, we're over 76 feet from Main Street anyways, but that will be left mostly natural, so.
Yeah, I mean, the grass isn't going to be, or whatever, crazy, because you've
Sure.
got to be able to
Right.
see, okay. Well, just public comment. Yes. Come on up and give your name and address.
Hi, hello. I'm just testing the thing.
The microphone,
The microphone, do I need to do any?
No, just talk to it.
Perfect. I do have 8 copies, I counted. 8 copies of what I'll be reading. And you want me to do it?
Yeah.
okay?
I have to give first for the planning board.
Thank you.
I collected some signatures in the back. If I was one more person, I would have been able to fill in quite a bit. But the weather not permitting. I have one copy for
There, Mary, yeah. Right here.
planning board and maybe for the town plan.
Do you have any copy for Mr. Junquera?
I got 8 copies for you. I could email copies to the lawyer and stuff like that. I mean, I'll be reading exactly the stuff. And if you want, we could give them one.
Well, I can
copy.
give mine and read Mary's.
Yeah, oh, yeah, fine, yeah, take Mary's. Yeah. State your name and address.
Yes, I am Muhammad Fahad. I am an abutter, and it's 35 Ashumit. Basically, the presentation of I call it the lawyer for the applicant, was good. What I mean by good, as any lawyer would do, they will always present the salient points and cover up the little things. The main issue that I found out myself with this matter is basically the location of the street.
Excuse me, Mohammed, would you mind just speaking up a little bit louder and speak a little slower?
Okay,
Thank you.
I am warming up. So the main issues that I found out with everybody around my area is the access, is the use of Ashumit Road. And you could see from the map over there, actually from you could see that there is possibility, it's feasible to have access from the 130, Route 130. And it is much more feasible, it's much easy, and there will be not much objection. However, so the entrance way to this project should be from the main street only. Ashumit Road is a dead-end residential street and should be protected from commercial traffic and noise. Commercial traffic on Ashumit Road would disrupt our peaceful residential neighborhood, damage the road, cause disruptive noise, disrupt pedestrian use of our street, including biking, and lower our property values. I'll say again, lower our property values. The plan for the commercial building clearly shows an 18-wheeler truck in the parking lot for deliveries. Trucks will go in and out, supposedly, for small businesses to pick up, contractors to pick up. But the delivery of 18-wheeler is also something that will happen. The trucks are too large. Now, the 18-wheeler truck are too large and too disruptive for Ashumet Road. Anybody who drives from 130 wants to go into Ashumet Road has to slow, because opposite he could find somebody, and it's tough. That is no curb, and that's difficult to do. Ashumet Road is not engineered or built for heavy traffic, truck traffic. And if you go into the road, you inspect the pavement, you will see immediately. And this is important. The 130 is better graded, can handle stuff. There is no curbing, again, and it is a dead-end road. The intersection of Ashumet Road and Main Street has already failed and is in need of repair and reconstruction. We'll live with it, but it's working. Now, commercial traffic will seriously add to the damage of this intersection and damage the street, which again is not designed or constructed for 18-wheeler trucks. We ask that you do not allow commercial traffic on our street. Moreover, commercial traffic on Ashumet Road would endanger pedestrians, and I would say runners and bikers, who use Ashumet Road to connect to the pedestrian way on Route 130. On a daily basis, multiple pedestrians and runners use Ashumet Road and connect to the pedestrian way along Main Street. At the end of Ashumet Road, towards Route 130, most pedestrians turn right and head towards the Indian Museum and the Herring Run, etc., and go to other places. Most do not turn left, which leads to the commercial areas along Main Street, which is what we call the C3 zone. We ask that the entrance may be relocated to Main Street. The development could share the entranceway of the property, whatever it is they want to do, they have enough space to actually do it on Main Street. We don't need to tell them what to do. They could see it right away. And they could adjust the building in such a way that it will serve them the way they like it. And we don't need to bother too much with the issue. Now, the second point, the asphalt parking lot is too large. This large asphalted area will lead to unsightly outdoor commercial storage of new and used products and equipment. This will negatively impact our neighborhood and lower our residential property value. That's in case the access from the Ashumet Road is still there. We request that either the outdoor storage of products and equipment be prohibited, or that all outdoor storage of products and equipment be screened with solid wooden fencing. That's, again, if they want to do the access from Ashumet. However, to avoid the creation of a heat island, I mentioned the asphalted area, which is a heat island. The parking lot should be white-topped to create cool pavement, as recommended by the US EPA. I handed the lawyer the copy. He will see the link to the issue of covering the asphalt area. Now, to protect our residential neighborhood and our property values, we request that deliveries and trash removal are limited to 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday and are prohibited on Sundays. This is, again, if you leave the side road access from Ashumet Road. So those points have to do with Ashumet Road access. However, we are asking, and myself personally, I ask that this matter be resolved by having the Plan B, actually the main plan, access from Route 130. All the businesses have that, and the businesses who have it on the side basically are into a territory that is totally no problem with residential access, no issue. But in our case, it is mixed, and it's going to be an issue. So, but also with respect to the heat island, they have to cover it with a white-topped to make a cool pavement reflective, etc. But also the issue is with the lighting. Well, lighting, by insurance, they have to have lighting. They could make sure that the lighting doesn't shine to the outside. It means the abutting people. I live actually right close. My building is just right across from them. That's mainly it. Thank you. Thank you.
And the abutters, these are all abutters, who signed this are Mohammed Fad, Matthew Croto, Carly Campbell, Bruce, I can't really read that, Fernandez, Laura Strong, Kim Crawford, Joel Crawford,
Clifford.
Clifford, Joel Clifford, Sherman Farrett, Claudia Fernandez, and Cindy Drew. Oh, and more. Wilfred, is it Roth? Do you know who that name is at 35 Schumet?
It's like rock.
Yep, Rock.
Rock. Michelle Hyatt and Lilia Hyatt. Thank you, Mohammed.
Yes, but I just one little notice. I spoke with respect abutting from the people of Oak Hollow. That's my condominium association. However, there is a side road right a little bit right before the planned or whatever. It is all colony. And that's the only access they have.
It is all what?
All colony is basically a whole neighborhood association on
Yeah.
the side, just before this planned thing towards Route 130. So that increases also the issue. Across from them also, I mean, all these things add up. And then we are not only the Oak Hollow condominium, beyond us is a dog park, and we have what they call pickleball, and we have access also to the playgrounds. And these are folks, not trucks, these are folks that come by bike or come by car, etc. But their intention is just residential, not like industrial or stuff like that. So it's better to have them on the big side, and they are able to do it with ease. It's not an issue. Thank you.
And there are folks who have homes, their homes are on the Schumet Road, like virtually across the street from this proposed driveway. Their driveway is virtually across the street, so I'm just, that'd affect them greatly.
Ed, I'm thinking that perhaps we should continue this hearing till next time.
So,
Chair, we have-
Madam Chair, it seems like,
Let him speak first.
oh, sorry.
But yeah,
Yes.
we're not done. Yeah, we're not done. We can talk after. Mr. Junqueira, do you want to speak?
Madam Chair, we have.
What about-
we have
Actually,
first-
a gentleman right
Let a
here.
guy here, let him speak.
Yeah. Would you like to speak, sir?
Oh, that's what he's there for.
Yes, sir.
I'm his spouse.
Okay. Okay, you, please sit down. Please give your name and your address, sir.
My name is Leonard Parkman, number 2, Ashumet Road. My wife here, Diane, we live in a house in back off of Ashumet in the woods. We got one of those letters from you within 300 feet within the project proposed. So we had thought about it. One of the gentlemen here, I can almost mirror what he said.
I should preface this, as a wife, I always do this, no. But in any event, Leonard grew up, we live in a property in the back. He grew up, and he doesn't want me to say this, but he's nearly 80 years old. So he's lived on that corner of where he lived, right there on 130, and we live in back of it, right on Ashumet Road, to Ashumet Road. We know what it's zoned for because he's been there nearly 100 years, and so we know we know that it was zoned in a time when there weren't that many people here, and the idea was that it would be for small places. Now this is, a long time after. We're talking about we live there. It's a residential area. We live there, he's lived there. There are people across the street. 130 does have businesses, it has for many years. But we live in Old Colony is there with a group of homes. It's a neighborhood. Be there no mistake, it is a neighborhood where we have children and dogs and such. And therefore, I just want to preface that to let you know the history, that we've been here, we know what it is, we know what it's zoned for, and we know that businesses happen, but we're looking at also mirroring what Mohammed, I believe, said, that is indeed a neighborhood, and there are play areas, other things going on, and coming in from it's a Shumet, right? Is going to really impact, the driveway, the traffic increase. The infrastructure's not set up. It hasn't been set up for the volume that it has today. You add to that, you're impacting the environment, the value of property, the people being able to live and walk and move and other things. So we're looking at all of those things. We're looking at the noise. We're looking at the safety. We're looking at the access, more traffic. We've seen it increase where it doesn't really, that street is not made to take the traffic that it does. And the people coming from Old Colony, as it is, are going to be really impacted to try to get to 130. We keep mentioning 130. This is not 130. This is a Shumet. It is a small street. Go ahead, Lenny. I didn't mean to take a pause.
No, but it is, as I said, like a gentleman and my wife is saying, it's a neighborhood. And we know there's been zoned for business, but that doesn't negate the fact that we live there in a neighborhood. One of the attractions, as was mentioned about joggers and whatnot, is it's a one-way dead end. Not a one-way, but it's a dead end road, because that road used to go onto the base of the Camp Edwards, and they blocked it off at one end, of course, but it's safe, so to speak,
As it's pretty much, but not anymore.
as a dead end road. But still, there's traffic back and forth there. As I mentioned, there's a dog park, the going to the parks, the ballpark, but it is attractive as a dead-end street. You at least know that somebody's not going to be doing 100 miles an hour, hopefully. Why on 130, you've got to watch it.
Not set up for
But the infrastructure of the town really is not really built to have these, especially coming out. I wanted to know why the driveway, the entrance exit to this business is not on 130, as the gentleman mentioned, because I know this area from front to back, and I know that patch of woods there is a patch now, but the animal life, of course, I think of the wildlife, but now I noticed, it's been a while now, all of a sudden we walked up to the road to take a walk up Shumet. Here's all these trees knocked down and out to Shumet Road, and I'm saying, what? I found out that this project is going on. Now, if this
hasn't been determined yet, why are some trees down?
That's what
Have you all
yeah, so-
been there, noticed, looked inside the property? Why would any trees be taken down from that area if this is something that's up for a decision?
Now, if the driveway is not off of Shumet, if it comes out onto a Shumet, it hooks in like a fish hook into the business. And I mean, that's a good distance. I can see the parking lot for that building where the lawyers are right now. And this building is going beyond that. Now, if you come out of that building, and you're way back there, coming around like a fish hook out to Ashumet. Now, that is going to cause, as he mentioned and my wife did too, with trucks going in and out of there. There are some 18-footer trucks that make deliveries, not perhaps every day or every hour, but they got them in, and these people over there in Old Colony, that's almost directly across from the entrance exit to this business. And you're coming out, and this is a nice entrance exit for that Old Colony. Now you're going to have big trucks coming out across the street from them. And then the children, you have children, I see them all the time. Bicycles and stuff, they come out, grown-ups with bicycles. We go in bicycles and go up Ashumet.
You have to think of the practicality in the neighborhood and what can you do to reduce that, you know, and if it were your property value and if it were your neighborhood and your safety and that sort of thing. We know that it's zoned for a business, but you have to also take into consideration, you know, us citizens that live here and what we've put into it and what we've invested into it and what we deserve for safety as well. You know, yes, we know there's zoning. But what can you do? We want the landscaping to make sure that, you know, it's maintained and kept up and doesn't look like, just like you said, the big square building with big trucks coming up, so you can't use your street anymore, and you can't, you know, and it's running right into Old Colony, and then the traffic is like zoom and stuck. And this is not 130. We want you to know this is a Ashumet Road, a residential area. Please take that into consideration if this goes forward. And
I
that,
like this thing. Ashumet Road, you people are taking a lot. You got the dog park, the pickleball court.
Absolutely.
I go down there every Saturday and Sunday with my grandchildren to play sports. You have a lot of traffic already going on that road.
absolutely,
I
absolutely.
don't know why you can't look at 130 to come in. You can answer that when you come up, but, and another question, can't you put it up in the corner of your property? Instead of where you got the driveway, put it further up to, on 130, where it says paved parking lot. So it'll be way up here. Up. Let me show you. Instead of being way down here, why don't you come right from 130 right here? You can see if you can maybe get it right away, and that way you're not interfering with all the traffic. I like to see you come on 130.
Congestion.
If you can't, you should try to come on off of this. Right up in the corner there, and then it's not way down here, and, you know, it's only a couple, maybe 50 feet off of 130, or wherever this is, 100 feet. Instead of being down all the way down the end of your property. I mean, I think you should take a look at that, because I'm not gonna vote for this unless you show us you did another study on this project. Because I can't put this burden on all the people on Schuman Road and the colony.
That's just way too
People going down
much.
into town, use that road all the time.
Okay, I've heard you, Mr. and Mrs. Pocknet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other abutters who wish to speak? Two more people. Someone come on up. Three people. Okay.
Good evening. Joel Clifford, Old Colony Drive.
What's your name, sir?
Joel Clifford.
Oh, Sol Clifford, okay.
Yeah. I'm also the president for Old Colony Residential Association.
Yeah.
Our concerns are the pedestrian foot traffic is quite heavy on that road. We have the pickleball court, dog park. The one thing that we're forgetting about, soccer and baseball.
I just said that.
Road is heavily trafficked pretty much all year long. The other thing that we need to consider, there's a bus stop right at Old Colony Drive and Ashumet Road. So I'd like the board to consider the entrance be relocated on Route 130 at some point, someplace. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clifford. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Bill Campbell. I am a property owner of Oak Hollow. I purchased it about 5 or 6 months ago. Top of the mark. Paid a lot of money for a small place because I love the area. It's a family area. There's kids there.
What is your address, sir?
It is 35 Ashumet, Unit 10A. And I have as Dennis had mentioned, grandchildren. I have a 17-month-old, and that was part of the motivation. My daughter lives there. The child visits. They have a swimming pool on the premises. They walk to the park. There's a pickleball when they get older. If they have a dog, which you can have pets, there's a dog park there. The other thing I'll say is, though I'm sure they're very credible and they mean what they say, but I think anything that they say when it comes to the size of the vehicles in and out of this proposal should be memorialized on the deed. Single use should be memorialized on the deed, and no further building on the premises, as they said, part of that wouldn't be used as residential, should be memorialized on the deed. I know when I'm doing an addition, I had to memorialize stuff on my deed in another town. So that's all I want to say. And full disclosure, Dennis, I haven't seen you in a long time, man. It was nice to see you. I'm glad to see you're still on the board.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Paul Lehman. I'm across the street on 2 Birch Way, so across 130. You can kind of see everybody saying move the entrance across to go out to 130. The issue is that intersection that you can see a little blip right there of the island is the entrance to our neighborhood. So the second you move that entrance to 130, that creates a intersection where you have cars exiting the neighborhood, cars exiting the business. So I think that's probably the reason why that Ashumet was chosen. I'm not an engineer, but that would be an issue probably if it does get switched to the 130 side, unless they can figure out a better entrance where it's not a 4-way intersection per se. And then the other issue is everybody's addressed is that we had is when deliveries would be happening, because right now we have deliveries to Landscape Express, which we've had trucks coming in there at 2 in the morning at times. So we talked to that owner, and it's not as frequent, and they've been pretty decent about making sure that isn't happening, because he didn't even know that was happening. So that was a concern that we had, because we're essentially right across the street. And then the lighting, which you guys have already brought up, if it's going to be outdoor storage, is it going to be bright lights like you see down Echo Road? So that's my concern. If the entrance was to get rerouted onto 130, where is it going to be in conjunction to that intersection as well?
Got it.
Because there is a crosswalk in that intersection to go across 130, so.
Tell me your last name again, sir.
Lehman, Lehman.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Good evening. My name's Antonio Brum, and I live at 96 Old Colony Drive. Have been there since 1987 when the development was first made. The issue with the traffic certainly on 130 in the town of Mashpee has increased greatly since 87. That traffic on Route 130 has become much more difficult to pull out onto or back into because how it backs up there because of the traffic flow on 130. So that definitely has increased. But certainly, I think one point that hasn't been made is like, wow, have we really reached the point in the town of Mashpee that plumbers have supplied such shoddy products that we now need 2 wholesale plumbing supply facilities in the same town, a stone's throw away from each other? I just don't see why it is. The Napa store on Route 130 was vacant for quite a while. Nobody jumped on that. Easy in, easy out, and you got main ability to be on a main road to get traffic of people coming in to do business with your place. A Schumett is just not. Old Colony Drive, we have 29 homes in there. It's a big cul-de-sac. There are kids and so forth. There has been a lot more traffic on a Schumett, as we know. I can't see how this is going to be anything but just a disaster for that. I just can't believe we need that many more plumbing supply stores in the town of Mashpee. I mean, what's all this stuff coming from China, really? Last a couple of years, and then we got to replace it? Even building on the Cape. I mean, even in the town of Mashpee. Are we building new houses like crazy? We can't keep up with pipes and sinks and so forth? It just doesn't seem like it makes sense. I'm sure down the road where the industrial complexes are, there's got to be room down there to build something, and that's been zoned for that with practically no traffic impact. That's what I have to say. I think Old Colony Estates and the Schumett Road and the residents deserve a little better than that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there any other abutter? Another abutter? No. Are you in a butter? No, I'm not. But you can speak.
Good evening. Joel Junqueira, Cape White Construction, of the owner and the developer. I'm going to clarify first for this gentleman. It's not a plumbing supply. It's a EJP Prescott is a drainage septic store. They have about 12 to 15 customers a day. That's what they do. It's my company. We do septic systems. And other companies around, that's what they use. It's not a sink or faucet. That's not what they sell. They sell drainage and stuff for septic system and sewer system. Chris can explain to you why, in our way to look at this, we love to have an interest on 130, but we can. The
zoning bylaw prohibits us to have.
Prohibit us to do that. That's the why we.
What section does the bylaw prohibit?
I don't know the exact section. I don't know if you have it on the.
Will it be under the C3 part?
Yeah, but the problem is that when you have access, if you front on if you front on 130 and then you front on another public way, the bylaw requires you to use the other public way for a driveway. So we're prohibited by your zoning bylaw from having access on 130.
Well, like I asked the question, can you move the driveway further up on the lot?
Well, that
Instead
would impact the office buildings next door.
Well, you're impacting residential people.
I think there's this misimpression that we're, Batello's or Home Depot. That's not what's happening here. The EJ Prescott is open from 7 to 4 p.m. during off-season, 7 to 5, and they're closed on weekends. They're closed on weekends. So I think some of that impact is mitigated by their operating hours. They may have 2 to 3 deliveries a day. When we're talking about this 18-wheeler, there's not trucks coming in and out, at every hour of the day. It's just not the case. And I'm pretty confident there's a lock gate, so you're not going to be seeing people coming in at 2 in the morning. So
there will be a lock gate.
There will be a lock gate that only the fire department will have a key to. So again, you're not like the the landscape people. You're not going to see deliveries at 2 in the morning.
Could you tell us, because I don't understand what this business is, what is it that you're selling that, say, Ferguson?
Well, they don't sell homeowner
No
sinks and
residential.
showers and things like that. They sell, the large piping that you would put in for water services, septic, sewer lines, things like that, drainage. So they're
Like,
selling,
would Robert B. Auer be one of your customers?
Correct, yes.
yeah, they deal with contractors.
Okay.
So again, if we could have done 1:30, I think that would be preferable, but your bylaw does not allow us to do that. And again, I think the operating hours, do mitigate, some of those concerns. They're not open on weekends, so you're not going to see, consumers, contractors, or deliveries on the weekends. And, as far as we're over 250 feet from a Schumett as far as site and things of that nature. And again, that dark green is all natural vegetation. So I think we've done a good job of trying to, protect the visibility of the building. Again, we are going to comply with all your night sky, dark sky, photometrics and things of that nature.
Where would the outdoor storage area be again?
Right in this area. On the back of the building.
So would it be abutting any residential property? It would be abutting the landscape company.
Any other public comment? Yes, sir.
Just really quickly.
Just come up, because you need to get to the microphone.
I'm probably not enough. Bill Campbell again. We just heard that it's typically not going to be pickup trucks. They're going to be 18-wheelers. This is large stuff coming in. Everybody knows what septic system, concrete, tanks and piping look like.
The diffusers.
Well, it's going to be a huge impact. And the storage too. I mean, I don't know. I remember when it was a VFW or.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, thank you. I'm thinking that we should continue this public hearing next time. You want to say something more, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, again, I just want to reiterate that we're building in a commercial zone, so I think that has to be taken into account. And again, there may be, 2 to 3 deliveries with 18 wheels, but most of it will be pickup. And again, it's not this impact, of like a Batello's or a Home Depot or something like that. You're not going to have homeowners coming in and out, like where you have those high impacts. So, and again, the operating hours, they are not open on the weekends, and, it's basically 7 to 4, 7 to 5. What would be the reason for the continuance? What information are you still looking for from us?
I think perhaps the reason is, I'd like to think about this and read everything over again. I don't know, I know what's going on with Robert B. Auer, because I see it in Hyannis. Will big pipes be going out of your facility? Will Robert B. Auer coming to you for piping?
It would, I can let them speak to that, but they may come there to pick up material, yes.
The pipe probably be out again to do the system. Doesn't come from this store, coming from the manufacturer. They're buying.
Okay, but I'm asking, would Robert B. Auer, as an example, would it be coming to pick up those?
Yeah, so it's I think the understanding here is that they don't have like it's not a tractor trailer come every day to deliver something. If Robbie be able to go in there, they go in the pickup truck to get feedings or get a hay bale or something like that. It's not coming like we do septics ourselves. We go there to get pipe, PVC pipe or infiltrators and stuff like that. We don't get, if we're going to get a deliver for 100 feet or 200 feet of pipe, come from someplace else. It doesn't come from them. And that's the difference. It's like, again, what Chris said, that's not a Home Depot store. It's not
I understand
it's not a convenience store, not a plumbing store. It's not JD the dairy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like would you do pump stations?
No. They don't. A pump station is done by, it's concrete. It's completely different.
The concrete.
Yeah, it's completely different, yes.
Yeah, I think we should continue this. I mean.
All right, well, let's ask, how many people would?
I just want to ask one more question.
Go ahead.
So there's no way you can move that driveway, even at the end of the pavement, down Schumett Road? I mean.
What do you mean, like? Dennis, can you show us where you?
I'll show you what I mean. You can't, I like to see it up here, and say, what about right here?
Well, this is somebody else's property.
You can't take it.
Well, you can't do that, you gotta have to have a right, we would have setbacks and all that, so it doesn't work. You know, you can't go against the bylaw, you know what I mean?
Okay, then put it here, in your property.
What's the?
Because you're not coming out the old colony, all the houses there, their driveway's right here. You know?
What's the setback for driveway?
Really no setback for a driveway.
I like to see you think about that, though.
I have no problem if you move the driveway to the side, yeah.
Right.
All right, we're gonna continue the public hearing.
Madam Chair, the location of that driveway is right now, Rob, can you point where I'm looking at a map.
Pick it up, please, so we could all see it.
I'm looking,
I'm just gonna pick up this plan.
You
Yeah.
have Lotus map here that might show.
I'm looking at the
that.
zoning map, right, I'm looking at the GIS system on town. The entrance to Old Colony Drive is actually to the right of their driveway.
Yeah, the truck's got to go by it.
So if you move it towards the corner of his driveway, corner of his property, it's going to be directly opposite it,
Correct. The closer we move.
to that way.
towards that
This
corner,
way it'd be worse, yeah.
It would be okay, it would just be right in front of it, be right opposite it.
I didn't know
I would,
that.
I would like it to be, I mean, if the board seeks to continue, I would recommend you all go out there and take a look at
I
it.
would like to do that.
Take a look at the intersection, and also, familiarize yourself with where that bus stop is. I don't,
Where is that bus stop? Just if you can describe it, because I think I know.
just, it's,
Old Colony and Schuman.
Okay.
so there may be a spot at the end of Old Colony, obviously twice a day, right, where the bus will pick up children and then drop them off. And you would likely want to restrict deliveries during that period.
Yes.
We do that all the time. We do it all the time for projects,
That
right?
could be a condition.
Right. So that would definitely be something you want to consider. But right this minute, the width of a Schumett Road there and the amount of traffic we're talking about adding, I don't really see a major safety problem. I do recognize that people will be walking from the condominium complex, potentially with dogs and so on, going down to play pickleball, but they're not generally walking towards Route 130. Some may, but they're not generally doing that. So I would be concerned if it was on the other side of, Oak Hollow. I'd be concerned if it was on the other side of Oak Hollow, then they'd certainly have even a stronger case. But in general, when we do design for traffic concerns, we want to use the existing traffic network that's in place. So it's a better idea to use the intersection at Route 130, even though I'm in favor of the access from Route 130. It's a better idea to use the existing intersection where Schumett Road meets 130. That's a common access, that's already designed for a certain site distance, it's safe site distance there. It doesn't affect Birch Street across the street, Birch Way across the street. It won't add another conflict that potentially could exist there. There's no easy, each selection you make, there's a conflict to deal with, right?
Right.
So which one is the lesser impact is the one I think you need to just evaluate.
The vehicles that go in for deliveries, are they normally large vehicles?
No, they have a one-ton truck. That's what they do.
Okay, one-ton
Yeah,
truck. All
Yeah,
right.
they get and deliver.
You don't have any
Not
tractor
getting
trailers?
18-wheelers?
No, they don't have, there's
No,
no.
they don't have. There may be deliveries with an 18-wheeler.
Maybe a delivered 18-wheeler, but it's not they don't deliver, they don't take material to us.
It's a panel truck, it's a van or a panel truck. It's
Yeah.
a
No,
I was
it's a
talking about the
contractor
delivery
truck with-
truck.
Yeah, they'll probably get it delivered with an 18-wheeler truck, no question
Okay,
about it.
but again, not on the hour, every hour, maybe
No,
two.
I just
but-
want to make sure I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah, no, I understand. I don't want to cause any
Delivery
confusion.
vehicles that are dropping things off are
Sure,
going to be the
yeah.
large vehicles.
Correct, yeah, yeah.
Well, I think we should do a site visit.
I'd like to do that.
Yeah. And will everyone go down there and take a look?
Oh, yeah, I go down.
Take a good
And I
look.
would just ask council if you would, Chris, if you would please write something up on the conflict with allowing access on Route 130, just so the board sees that in writing?
absolutely.
I just started looking at it online real quick, just when you mentioned it, I see where it is, I just got to study it.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I can provide that to the board. Is there, if we're going to continue, is there anything else that the board would like to see from me or the applicant on this?
I would, referring to the Lotus map, the long drive coming across on this side with what appears to be very unified small lots with a one straight road. Can you explain what that is?
Okay.
That's Johnson Road, it's an unbuilt subdivision.
On
You're
tiny
looking,
lots?
are you looking at those?
It's a town land, it's unbuilt
It's just
subdivision.
land.
It's
They
a-
show the little lots, but
Is
it's
it
not
a
buildable.
forest
It's
area?
a,
The town
it's
ones,
a,
yeah.
right, it's a subdivision that has not been built. I would have to research it with the town planner
And
for you. but
basically not
There's
an issue
there's
here.
nothing there today.
Or tomorrow.
It doesn't mean there won't be something there tomorrow, I'm just
What
saying.
is
the
the,
town
what is
owned-
the
the town
zoning?
owned the land.
Residential or?
Yes, it's all residential.
Yeah,
It's all residential.
Yeah.
It's small lots, it looks like it was done a long time ago, it was never constructed. And it's quite a few lots, it's probably 40 lots. 30,
But I think that
30,
what
30 something
Joel's saying
lots.
is that the town owns the land. So
Town
it's-
owns the
It's not
land.
privately owned that you could see a subdivision.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think we have to look at this abutters petition, I called it an abutters petition, that Mohammed Fuad spoke about. That's why I would like to continue this to we go and have a site visit, we read all this information again, and then we make our decision next time.
Okay.
Agreed.
Could I have a
I
motion,
make a
please?
motion, we continue the public hearing in 2 weeks, or should we, that'd be enough time for everybody to get out there? Look?
We need to have a time for that, let's see.
That takes, what?
We did have it scheduled for, I think it would be scheduled for April, well, let's see what the,
What's your next available
April
meeting?
17th
April 17 at 7.
at 7:10 PM.
7:10.
Second.
Right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Thank you, everybody,
All
for
right,
your
thank
time.
you.
Thank you.
I gotta take a break.
Okay, we're going to take a 5-minute a 5-minute recess. Do you need to take a 5-minute recess?
Yes,
Make it 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
You
can't
can't involve him, and even though I know he wants to help,
No,
but.
no, you can't, I know that.
Yeah.
I mean, would it be fair to ask Ed to meet us down there?
Absolutely.
I mean, we really don't understand the whole layout there.
It happens all the time, but I didn't know was there's a, and as soon as I walked out onto Schumer Road and saw a whole colony across the street, I went, oh. So I knew there would be some comment, but, I don't know anything about the bus stop, so.
Yeah.
I still don't think that's a major issue, but
Yeah.
that's certainly a question.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have to leave?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. You just
Okay.
wait.
I just want to say, I'll be in Florida.
You're gonna be-
Next week, but I'll zoom in.
All right,
From the beach.
okay, I'm gonna take a break
You
myself.
guys kill me.
Just FYI though, we do already have a 7:10 public hearing on April 17th, so I'll have to adjust the time on the agenda.
What's,
Well, what
what
you
is
do-
the agenda, no, wait a minute.
Yeah, if you have two at the same time, you just post them at the same time.
And just noted in the.
And you can't
Wait a
open
minute,
it.
I
you-
have New Seabury Homes at 7:15 and 7:20.
We have a 7:10 for the zoning article public hearing.
Right. So you can't open it before, but you can open it after that time, even if it's one.
It's a big, freaking stressful.
I know where it is.
A little bit,
Oh, that's because we need to set the public hearing date tonight. 7 lot subdivision, small.
Another phase of some sort?
Outside of the New Seabury
We
special
spent a lot of
permit
time thinking sand castle.
that they're seeking to divide.
What else is on that night? You got this memorandum.
Yeah, we have, at 7:10, the public.
Oh, yeah,
hearing.
yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a lot of nice stuff down.
This one, we have, is there another one on April 17th?
You've got,
What, you come back to this kind of weather?
plans.
Tree bylaw, tree bylaws. So there is
You're
already one
driving back.
established though at 7:10.
You're
All
not
right,
driving
so
back
we
down.
have two
right?
at 7:10, right, already. And then you want to set a public hearing, 2 public hearings on.
Yeah, that's, if you can get a flight pretty cheap, right, as long as you're not
Hey, you
carrying a lot
getting
of
any
baggage.
comments about the proposed zoning bylaw? Okay. Maybe we should do that first.
I haven't received that.
They call it nice, nicer, and nicest.
Then we can get that out of the way, and then you and I can go back out the hall.
Yeah, right, right.
Thanks for filling in,
Hey.
sir.
Remember I told you I saw that animal, the black one?
So are you around on the
Fishing
17th?
hat.
Okay,
I
good.
looked it up. I said, that's what I saw. I
I'm
go,
trying to be here.
Yeah, those sweet. They change
oh,
the
yeah,
steering.
they're vicious.
What's parking
This
in
one we
Boston
might
now?
need you.
Terrible.
Haven't seen it since,
What do you think of,
But from the Cape, where I live, down here, every once in a while, you just jump on a bus.
we come to the study,
Takes you right to your gate.
before we even talk
And I travel like, I wear shorts all the time anyway.
No.
Holy
And then
smokes.
if we're gonna lose that zero interest, this-
I almost died. I saw Ed, what,
I don't
about a
wanna
year
pay
ago
for
in
it.
Yarmouth. I'm like, oh,
that
you're here too.
$75 sounded good to me.
The zoning board in Yarmouth.
Years ago, I was on the sword.
It's a
Special
very,
need
it's a
talking
very
about
good board
drug
because
alley.
it's got a lawyer who's.
And we were doing the sword.
We just got it approved.
He's up to $35.
Oh, good.
And
Yeah.
that was
Everything's been approved up to this
15
point.
How was
years
the Board of
ago.
Health, okay?
They were very detailed.
Yeah, but they're saying only $75. I don't know how that can be.
There, I was in California, I had one of my engineers there.
Because the person that was there for like 35 years retired.
You don't know my name. Contractor Bay.
Yeah, the thing is that,
Building with 6 contractor beds in a holding tank. That's always what I wanted. They had to get a license to store hazardous materials in a water protection. I don't know how this is the only interest. So.
that's all. I'll never do that to myself. 3 hours sitting.
They had to get a license.
But thank you.
To answer the question. Septic and holding tank. So
Wow.
they have,
Oh, yeah.
the license requires them to have an engineer check that system every year.
I was too, but
So they obviously
I,
want me to do that. So I asked them to write a letter explaining what I would do.
that was Ronnie. I watched it and go.
Well, they're just very,
Very, very detailed. Well, one guy, Carl Lawson, very, very detailed guy. Previous, head of the health department.
Bruce.
I've known him for years and I haven't kind of septic systems.
Says it right around the corner. Will have been. I mean,
Yeah, Carl is just,
I mean, really?
but the thing is, when you need to look something, when you need to look something up, like
Good.
from
That's
20
a
years
very
ago,
good
you're
analogy.
like, oh, it's, they're very,
The building inspector, he's really good to deal with.
Yeah.
But he's also very neat.
yeah, Mark is
He
good.
says, you know, all right, you're gonna have this problem, you don't have to worry about that. Write it down. Really good about it.
Okay, let's get going. Al wants to go home.
Okay, are we got everyone, Rob,
See, Rob.
Okay, meeting time.
coming back.
Madam Chair, could you just take the matter of the date you'd like to do the site visit?
Okay, we were talking about taking a site visit at 474 Main Street, and Ed will meet us there if we can all come up with a certain date. What date would
Maybe
be,
I already know this date.
what date would be convenient for you, Ed?
Any day while he's getting-
So we probably want to wait till the massive weather pattern
Oh,
leaves
yes.
this week.
That would be a good idea.
Right. And
I just bought a pair of boots.
any morning, actually, next week will probably work, I would say, somewhere Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Monday is good and Wednesday is good at this point. Thursday
What
is,
time?
I would suggest 9 o'clock. So if we
How
could
is
go with,
Monday at 9 a.m. for people?
People work.
He works.
it's upcoming Monday, the 8th.
At what time?
I'm heading towards the Eclipse Party in Kennebunkport, so I can, yeah, I'll
Let's
make
see.
9 o'clock.
When,
All right.
when, I was going to say, when are you going to be back?
I'm going to come back on Tuesday, but just going to be there for the night.
We've conventionally posted an agenda for your site visits. I just need 48 hours notice to do
You
that.
have to post an agenda,
Yeah.
so it has to be on a meeting?
Since more than two of you are meeting, it's a public meeting by right. It has to be notified.
We do,
Oh.
can we do it Wednesday morning? Does that work for everybody?
Well, how are you going to post it on the agenda? You can't.
I don't need an agenda, I just.
Karen
I'll-
can. Karen
Post
Leslie
it
and.
on the agenda for
You just
Wednesday
need to
or
make an
Tuesday?
agenda and post it. It has to be
Oh,
publicly
post it, okay,
noticed.
you're not talking about on
That's
a
correct.
meeting
An agenda for your site walk. That's all it is.
I do mean a meeting agenda for the sidewalk.
Right.
And so whatever that date is should be provided to Karen, and she'll take care of it for you, but my office would need 48 hours to do that for you.
So Wednesday's safer, but you still have,
Well, what about the following week before, yeah,
So Monday can happen, I'm just saying, Karen, that would be, I would need to let her know that first thing in the morning, so it has to be posted before 9 AM on a Thursday. Yes.
I'll go on my own. I don't have to go with you. You guys can go. I'll go some other day. I'll go Tuesday when I get back. It's up to you.
the following week works as well, that following
that's when
Monday
we
the
might get
15th.
some good weather, maybe.
That's Patriots Day, you can't, well,
So
15th,
the 15th?
now the 15th is Patriots Day, though, it's Monday.
that's a Monday?
I
Yeah,
mean,
17th is the planning board meeting.
so I'd rather you get it
Get it this week?
before the previous week, so you have time to think about it before your
Oh, Yeah,
meeting.
yeah, for sure.
So Wednesday, the 10th will work,
I'm good. 9 o'clock?
Wednesday, April 10,
April 10th at 9 o'clock.
9 a.m. Okay,
As of the 9th, right?
site visit, we'll just,
9th, historical meeting.
Yes, Tuesday.
All right,
you have historical meeting?
Tuesday, yeah.
This
For
is
that
Wednesday.
Huh?
You said
you-
Wednesday.
No.
Can you help me with the
No,
right
I
person
know.
at the education,
Okay.
at the school department about the bus stop? I'd like to have that
Oh, I
figured
think-
out. for you.
Are you going to be here Wednesday?
Apparently at the.
Yeah,
I have to
Okay, great.
recuse myself.
I think, because
That's right.
you might tell us something that might impact
wanna know where
ours.
it
Yeah, Wednesday's good.
Yeah,
I just wanna know
okay,
where it is.
it's Wednesday, Wednesday it is,
The bus route.
yeah,
Okay, Wednesday at 9 o'clock, Wednesday the 10th at 9 o'clock, thank you.
okay. All right. We're at new business, and we are going to vote to set a public hearing date for an application for approval of a definitive plan and approval of an accompanying special permit submitted by New Seabury Homes LLC to subdivide 6 parcels into 7 new lots at property address as off the western sideline of Great Oak Road between Red Brook Road and Sips Road, map 110, parcels 58, 59, 80, 82, 83, and 97. Public notice, hearing notice. Pursuant to
You don't need
Massachusetts.
to read it, Karen, you don't need to read it.
I don't, oh, you're right, I don't need to read it, because we're just setting the date for the
Yeah, so
vote.
I've suggested May 1st at 7:15 and 7:20, you can do 7:20 and 7:25.
7:15 and 7,
Just bear in mind on that May 1st meeting date.
May 1st.
Do we have a public hearing? No, I don't think so.
Is that good?
That's good.
All right.
I'll be asking you again for the tree bylaw public hearing, actually to set it on May 1st as well, we'll get to that.
Okay. So 7:15 and 7:20, May 1st.
Yes, that works.
So it would be the definitive sub-plan and then the cluster.
We would do the special permit hearing first and then follow with the definitive.
Okay. May I have a vote?
So moved.
What's that?
It's an early voting day.
Do we have this room?
Okay, we have,
The room, I think. I'll have to follow up.
Okay,
all right,
I
do we
not
have a
been told
vote?
Not that we won't be in this room.
Right.
okay.
Aye.
So somebody made the motion?
Did you make the
I made the
motion?
motion, Dennis.
Second.
Second?
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay.
But that's, Evan's gonna make sure we can use this room though, right?
I'll confirm.
Okay.
Okay, the next one is the same kind of thing. Vote to set a public hearing date to establish the fee schedule for tree permits and certificates of exemption as required by Mashpee General Bylaw, Chapter 175, Tree Preservation.
I had initially intended to ask you to set this for April
Oh, I have-
17th, but I need 2 weeks to put it in the newspaper, which I haven't met. So I'm
Okay.
going to suggest you put it in for May 1st, and I'll have to put it on another press release.
Okay, I'll pass this out for people, just if they're interested in the tree bylaw, to just know what the schedule is, because you set up a bunch of Zooms and things.
Yeah, just
You know.
Q&As.
Yeah,
And I've had a lot of interest in private meetings as well.
right.
Let's pass it down.
Yeah. Pass them down, let's see, do I have enough? Yeah. Okay, so, let's see, I thought you had some time for that. You have it at,
So it'll be May 1st at what time?
May 1st at,
7:05 or 7:25 or 7:30,
May
any of
1st.
the above would work.
Wanna do that
May
one
1,
first?
7:05, this will be.
It's 7:05?
This will be quick.
It'd be quick,
Yeah.
it's just a, yeah.
Yep, I
Okay,
make a
may I
motion
have a
that we set
motion,
the.
please?
So moved, May 1st, 7:05.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thank you.
New business, 275 Quiniquisette Avenue, deliberation and potential vote on the application submitted by Southworth Mashpee Properties LLC to modify the Willow Bend Country Club special permit.
So, Madam Chair, should we start off, I think we maybe should take a motion affirming that, the information that was provided during public comment tonight is the board's not going to put it into the public record and not consider it during deliberations or decision-making.
Okay? I'll second that.
So
All
I
those in
make that
favor?
motion, if you'll accept that motion?
Yes.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. We don't want the public record that was brought forth tonight to be in the record. I'd like some clarification on that at some time.
Certainly.
Thank you. All right, so we're at Quiniquisette. So what I'm understanding, tonight, we're going to review the draft special permit modification decision that town planner drafted. And if it still stands, you do not want us to, you're recommending we not close it out tonight because we should have a town council look at it, make sure there's nothing missing, and perhaps vote next time?
Well, I did provide the draft as you have it to council. He
Yeah.
did reply within the past 24 hours with edits that were non-substantive in nature. It was mostly word choice and some grammatical issues. I would say nothing substantive, nothing identified in the draft decision that he noted as being potentially problematic from a legal perspective. I wrote the decision in consideration of the record that has been developed over the past year, for your review and consideration. And so, yeah, that's essentially it. I believe the decision is a very solid starting place to frame your discussion and deliberations, but by no means is a be-all, end-all. I wanted to make sure that all of the bases were covered with regard to any findings this board would need to make in accordance with the zoning bylaw, and be as clear as is possible relative to the data presented and the data received, and the issues identified and the proposed mitigation offered to mitigate impacts from some of the issues identified. I'd say the decision is relatively complete, but needs your review. And notably, I would point the board towards the required findings under the
Okay.
zoning bylaw you need to make, which are enumerated in finding O, section 174-24C2 of the zoning bylaw. That is that is the local criteria with which you are empowered to authorize or not authorize special permits and any modifications of said permits.
Okay, all right. So page 1, we know what the proposal that Willow Bend asked, so we don't need to go over that. And this is all this first page is a lot of history and, what was done. And going to page 2, we have the chronology of events. The special permit modification was filed by the town clerk with the town clerk in February 1, 2023. The hearing was open for the Mashpee Planning Board on March 1, 2023. Notice given to abutters and all. And March 20th, we voted to close the hearing. And we're here today to discuss the findings and vote on, we'll go through each finding and vote on each finding. And when I say vote, we're talking about the veracity of that finding. Isn't that what we're saying? This is a correct?
I think it's important that the board develop consensus on each required finding you're supposed to make, so that the decision can incorporate or not incorporate the finding, or if like a 3-2 vote were to come down in any specific finding, we would retain it in the draft.
So what you're saying is we should vote, we should look at the finding and make a decision whether we feel this should be incorporated in this special?
Or propose an alternative finding of
Okay.
fact, if you feel it's inaccurate in consideration of the record.
Okay. All right. The first finding is something that, we do not know if it's correct. The proposed modification involves less than 10% increase in the area of any use and is therefore under the provisions of section 174-24C9D of the zoning bylaw, subject to the dimensional and other relevant provisions as existed on November 6, 1985, the date on which a preliminary subdivision plan was filed on the property, freezing the zoning in effect at the time that this special permit was originally issued, April 15, 1987. At that time, the property was in an R3M zoning district. This subdivision is proposed under the cluster subdivision zoning regulations applicable to the project on that date. I ask you, Evan, how did you arrive at that the modification is less than 10%?
We can't take in new information, remember that. You know what I mean? You know, we have to be really careful.
So we
This is supposed
can't-
to be a deliberation between the five of us at this point. So you can't keep going back to somebody who's not in that group, because we're gonna get in trouble.
Well, didn't, since he wrote to the finding,
Right,
why
but
can't
we can
we
take
ask him?
that, we asked him to, and we can take this.
And I would just note that
But-
I cite the zoning bylaw section in that finding. So
Yeah,
you can
we
refer
have to
it.
be careful about that. We've already been called on that.
I would just
Why,
note that-
why don't you ask the board members if they have any questions?
Well, that's my next question.
Yeah, because if we all agree with that finding,
Okay, let's go through this.
if we all agree on the finding and we don't
let's
need to
see.
take any more information from our staff.
Can Dale speak on this even though he is not? Okay. All right, let's start with Rob. Do you have any?
Which one are we on? 4A?
That's the one we just read.
4A, okay.
Which,
I have no problem with that one.
I don't either.
I don't either.
I just want to note that the last sentence shouldn't be included. It's related to, it's a subdivision-related sentence that I pulled from former permit. That should be stricken.
Okay, so just delete that last sentence. This subdivision is proposed under the cluster subdivision zoning regulations applicable to the project on that date.
Correct.
Okay.
It's not a subdivision.
Okay.
no comments,
No issue?
no issue.
Okay. Dale?
I don't know.
No issue.
I'm fine with it.
Okay. So do we need to do a motion to approve this?
No.
Okay, so we're okay
No.
with 4A?
Yeah.
Okay. B, the proposed modification lies outside of the original project area, but within the project area as expanded by vote of the planning board in Willow Bend Special Permit Modification Number 27 pursuant to Section 174-24C9G of the zoning bylaw, increasing said area to 330.14 acres in Mashpee and 3.39 acres in Barnstable.
I
Did
might
this
have
stay in
to,
the special permit?
so,
I'm just trying to think, like, this is carried
I
over
don't,
from former permit too. I think this needs to be.
this is, right, so to opine on that, I'd have to look at the public record that's on our website. The special permit, including special permit 27, is on the website, so we can consult that. I don't think that that's
Yeah, this is-
relevant to this modification.
well, I don't know why we would have to go into all this, because we know what the issues are, and I agree that this is not,
I think we can strike that.
okay.
Item.
I'm for striking that. How do you feel, Mike?
It's fine with me.
Fine with me.
Strike. Dale? Strike, okay. So no on that one. C, under the provisions of section 9.3 and 9.4 of the applicable 1985 zoning bylaw, a minimum of 92 acres of open space was required within the original project area. Current open space is 237.9 acres, well in excess of the required acreage. I don't think that's relevant either.
Well, it's not relevant, I mean, it's relevant for
It is,
sure.
yeah.
We need to find that the project doesn't derogate from the original permit.
Right.
So you need to make sure that, you need to continue establishing the fact that this project or any modification therein isn't derogating from the original special permit conditions.
Let me read this again.
They needed a minimum, and they've got 237, so they're fine. That particular issue.
So Willow Bend or any multifamily project.
Okay, this is new information. Hey. It's not our fault that this wasn't brought to us. 9.3 and 9.4. open space. So the 1985 zoning is part of our public record, and it's on our website.
Public record?
Open space multifamily development. An open space multifamily development may be allowed in R3M and R4 zoning district in accordance with the following procedures and standards. So to vote on that, I would have to look at, which is public record, I would have to look at the special permit as amended. And that is gonna have to wait till the next time.
Amended over all those times they come for amended, right?
Yeah, I would have to look at the public record.
Yeah, good idea.
I don't think it's, that we just can put on hold.
Would current open space as 237.9 acres is well in excess of the required acreage, would that be sufficient?
I think that in previous special permit modifications, and I don't have all the special permit modifications with me, I believe that's in them. I believe it's true, but I don't think that we should vote on it without me doing a fact check for the.
Okay, but I'm asking
planning board.
if that were the only sentence in section C, would that be sufficient, or are we missing something?
I believe you need to identify the criteria with which that determines the acreage is.
We can do that with the public record materials that we have. It's just, I don't have them with me right now, and I don't want to go on the website, because then I'm looking, like, I don't have those materials in paper right now.
Okay,
Right, then we'll hold on that.
Just hold on that
All
one.
those.
yeah,
Okay with that?
yeah.
I believe it's correct, Karen. I just want to double check.
Sure.
Right.
D, under the 1985 special permit, the project would have been allowed 341 residential units and was permitted for 338 units. In 91, the permit was modified to reduce the total number of units to 287. The current proposal increases the number of approved units to 285 out of 287 maximum allowed units, which the board finds to be permissible under section 174-24C9F, as it is less than the original allowed 338 units and less than the currently allowed 287, and hereby approves said increase. I understand everything and agree with it where it starts in 1991 to the end of that. I do not know what the special permit would have allowed in 1985.
Okay, so with respect to number of units,
Yes. Well,
I
it was,
think in 1987, it was 338 units.
well, it's 1985 is what we have to figure.
341, it says.
341 residential units, but permitted for 338.
That 338 is correct.
That's correct.
I should clarify, the permit was issued in 87, but submitted, the application submitted in
Okay.
85. We should probably change that to
Under the,
1987.
permitted in,
Under the
add-
1987 special permit.
That always bugged me, thank you.
under the so change the 85 to 1987.
Correct.
A special permit was
But
reduced.
the number she said in 87 was 343.
Was 338. I can confirm 338.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
In 1991, it was modified, the total number to 287,
Well,
that's
we
correct.
know that. Everything is right, as far as I know, except I don't know, if 338 is right, then it's correct on the last sentence. But his question is, was 340 residential units in sentence 1, is that correct?
I don't know. I don't have it in my notes.
It's correct. That's what would have been allowed under the maximum build-out of the bylaw.
Okay.
Okay, and we approved 338, and so
Okay.
therefore this is accurate.
I hear what you're saying.
Thank you.
I'm reading it.
This is
So
accurate.
I can double
You're gonna
check.
confirm,
I can,
so-
I can confirm
Okay.
341.
So we'll say hold this, except confirm
Okay.
341.
So you're confident with the current proposal increases the number of, yes, of
Yes, I
approved
am.
unit, okay.
We know what's happened, I don't know the history that well.
So just, we need to confirm the number 341.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, all those in favor?
Just a clarification, it says the current proposal increases the number of approved units to 285 out of 287. That's a decrease in my mind.
No, because there's currently 274. So maybe it would need to be noted that there are currently 274 in the project.
So it's saying it's
This
still,
is
it'd
all
be under the,
information
okay.
contemplated
Under
as part of the record.
yeah, you said
But you're
287.
deliberating with us. Please give us space. I'm sorry, Evan.
So you're
No, the whole,
you're
the
not
whole
comfortable with
time,
that?
this is what's been happening.
They would be allowed 287 votes if we increased it to 285, is what
You
I'm
need-
saying. It was 274 below, so.
Right.
it's a-
We
it's a-
have
it's a- it's an in-
285.
It's a decrease of the increase.
You don't like the language?
It was just confusing. It looks like you were increasing a number smaller than,
So do you think it should be the current
They decrease the increase.
proposal
Increase the number of
totals
approved units.
the number of approved units to 285?
that would be.
Okay. So instead
That
of
would make
increases,
more
totals?
sense.
What, and cancel out the rest of that sentence?
No, he doesn't like the word increase. He's objecting to the word increase.
So the
current pro-
proposal increases the total
Ed, you're not, we're deliberating, please. Really, we've had fights about all of this, people interjecting. We just need to deliberate, the five of us, please. I've been waiting 8 months to do this. Thank you.
All right, so what do you want to
We
do?
can do this. The five of us can do this.
What do you want to do?
Capable.
Well, you can request
No,
clarification
Ed,
from
please.
staff if you'd like.
Please, Ed.
You don't have to ask
Ed.
me, you can ask anybody else.
Okay, Ed, please.
Oh, all right, let's get the rules straight here. Mary, you know the rules better than
Yes.
anybody else.
We've
What are
closed the
you
public
saying?
meeting. We're deliberating. The five of us get to deliberate. We don't get to take any more information in. That's it.
We close the public
That's
hearing.
it. And what happens is we start to just have these discussions and we start to go into this gray zone. Let's see if we can handle this, the five of us, okay, without interjections. Let's just see. I
Right.
know it's hard, but the five of us can do this. We can do this.
You can do this, but we are here to provide clarification.
Thank you.
But what does that mean, clarification? You
If you
can't
have
give us,
zoning-related questions, that's why I'm
That's
here.
new information, that's deliberation. The five of us are the planning board, we need to deliberate.
I don't understand. But I will
Right,
be
of
quiet.
course you don't,
I will be quiet,
okay?
but it's.
Thank you. In
it is
your
right.
town, you can run to be on the planning board, and you can talk whenever you
all
want.
right,
haven't
Mary, all
offered
right, Mary,
Thank you.
please,
deliberative
please
comments.
speak
That's-
politely.
But if
That's not
they,
appropriate.
they
Raise your
won't be
voice.
quiet, Karen, please.
Don't raise your voice, please, Mary, we don't like
Okay.
that, please. We'll
Thank you.
follow your rule,
Thank
your
you.
idea, your understanding, because
Thank
I
you.
don't know the rule.
I really appreciate that, Karen. I really appreciate that.
Okay, if this is the way it really is,
It is.
then I accept this.
This is the way it
So
is.
let's go back to,
I guess, the five of us are deliberating, but if we need clarification, that's not, it's just clarifying what we're trying to.
well,
But if I can clarify based on the public records, let's just do it that way, and let's keep it clean.
Well, then I think, let's just be polite and not tell everybody to shut up then, okay?
I-
Let's just do it the
This
way
is a
we should do
rule,
it.
Michael. I'm not telling anybody to shut up.
Let's go on.
This is
Okay.
a
You were the
legal
one just yelling
process.
for a
let me just
second.
get,
You're right.
just,
Just
let me
calm
just
down.
get one thing
All right,
clear.
let's move on.
Real
We don't
quick,
need-
and I'm not going to drag this out either, because I don't want to. The clarification, what is the definition of clarification? If we ask, we can't ask what the 87 special permits say.
Let's see if we can handle it ourselves first.
You guys can go home.
Well, I find myself, I'm
Happy to leave if you prefer that we leave.
If you keep interrupting, I will ask the chair for order.
All right, okay. I'll go along with you, Mary, and I guess you're the one who's going to be looking up these questions. Is that a fair statement?
From our public record.
From our public records with documentation that shows us?
I can bring the documentation in,
all right,
absolutely. You
then-
all have it. You all have access to it. It's on our website, but I will print it out for you.
Okay. All right, so we're going to hold on D, except to confirm 341. We're at E now, and under the 85 permit, which was affirmed in 91, special permit modification, the project is allowed no more than 853 bedrooms within the project area. Correct. The planning board finds and the applicant acknowledges that there are currently more than 853 bedrooms in the project area and were at least 855 on August 2nd to 2023, as calculated by the town planner. I know that we are currently more than 853. I don't know what was available at 8 on August 2nd. Can you look that up, Mary?
Yeah, it's 8:55.
It is 8:55? Okay. Utilizing assessor's data and building department records. The planning board finds that the applicant is not in compliance with this condition of the special permit and has established a new series of conditions to mitigate the impacts of the additional bedrooms in existence and planned, including this application. Those conditions are outlined below in section 5 condition. So those are the mitigation, the proposals, plans. So I'm fine with that whole thing. Any objection to
Yes.
paragraph E?
Yep, I think it should end at, the planning board finds that the applicant is not in compliance with the conditions of the special permit P, period. And then this other phrase should be placed elsewhere. I don't think it should be combined.
I see what you're saying. I do agree. I do agree, because that's superfluous. I mean, yeah, well, it'll be said somewhere else.
You're going to put that under conditions.
Yeah, it'll be under, let's see, let me see where that goes. Yeah.
Like the sentence will be, the planning board
It's
has.
under C, on page 6, somewhere in that area. Yeah. Okay, so it's going to read, as it is written on the page here, except we will strike.
Move.
We will strike from E, and has established a new series of conditions to mitigate the impacts of the additional bedrooms in existence and planned, including this application. Those conditions are outlined below in section 5. So all that is stricken, and it will go over.
I think into section 5.
Yeah. Okay, all those supporting that?
Yep.
Yep.
Everyone agree? Yes, yes,
Yep.
yes, okay, agreed. Number F, letter F, the project satisfies the requirements of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40A, in that it complies with the general purpose and intent of the Mashpee zoning bylaw on the applicable dates. Yes, once we know the dates, or if we have a
So-
date issue.
I'm not going to vote in favor of that.
Okay, why?
Because it doesn't comply with Chapter 40A, because it doesn't comply with our zoning bylaws. Because you can't make a finding on this where, now my papers are all messed up, sorry.
Okay, take it word by word and tell me why you can't agree.
So, section 174-24C2 says that special permits may be approved only if the proposed use or development is consistent with applicable state and town regulations, ... will not significantly decrease.
Yeah, I know that whole.
Surface water and quality, I'm going to keep going, though, will not have sufficient adverse impact on wildlife, habitat, estuarine systems, will not destroy or disturb any historic or archaeological sites. So now I'm starting to see that we're deliberating. I don't think this project, we can find that it's in compliance with Chapter 40A or the general intent of the Mashpee zoning bylaw, because it's not consistent with the two regulations, one being the special permit itself, because it's violated the bedroom cap, and the next one is it's not consistent with the flow neutral bylaw. That's another regulation it's not in compliance with. Also, we can't find that the project will not destroy or disturb historic or archaeological sites. I tried to keep that open for that research, but we do have the tribe.
Okay, Mary, we're
Okay.
making it a condition. These are conditions.
Right, but I'm not going to support those conditions, and I don't think they're strong enough. And I mean, you guys can say this language in F is fine, but this is where you start to lose my vote. You're going to say, is everybody okay with that language? You can be okay with that language, but I'm not going to vote for F. I'm just letting you know.
I hear you, I hear you. I'm having a difficult time understanding this. Can you run that by us again? How many understand what she's saying?
So,
You
to
do?
say,
I do, what is he saying? It's not conforming to our zone bylaws and the neutral flow bylaw.
neutral.
Okay, talk about the neutral, flow neutral, because that's where I'm most knowledgeable.
Okay. So it's a regulation, so we know from the section of the bylaw, 174-24C2, that you can only approve a special permit if it's in compliance with your applicable state and town regulations. So
Okay.
so the flow neutral bylaw is a regulation of the town. It's section 108. It caps the flow at this parcel, 275 Quiniquisette Avenue, to between 15 and 22 bedrooms, using a calculation of 1 bedroom per 10,000
Right,
square
yeah.
feet. Some people I know, that has to be upland, 10,000 square feet of upland. So that would be 15 bedrooms. If you added in the wetlands too, which some people, when they do the 1 in 10,000 square feet calculation, they don't include the wetlands. But if you use the upper limit of upland and wetland, that's 22 bedrooms. The proposed bedroom count for this project is 36 to 48 bedrooms. This is not consistent with the flow neutral bylaw and is thus not allowed. The flow neutral bylaw established a bedroom count on this lot at 275 Quiniquisette Road of 1 bedroom per 10,000
Okay.
square feet of land prior to the date of this application for special permit modification. So it does apply.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. And let's just jump over to H, because you're talking flow bylaw. And I think I can speak on this one here. Look at H on page 4.
Yep.
And we'll come back. The board finds that the Mashpee General Bylaws, Chapter 108, flow neutral, applies to the subject property, which limits present and future wastewater flows to the flows permitted from the property as of the effective date of the Mashpee Comprehensive Wastewater Management Plan, July 1, 2015. Chapter 108 establishes a 1-bedroom per 10,000 square feet of lot area limit for multifamily projects such as Cranberry Point. The subject parcel totals 220,650 square feet. As such, under the provisions of Chapter 108, the subject property is limited to 22 bedrooms without relief. For those people on the board that may not understand this, what they're saying here is 5.3 acres equals 220,650 square feet. If you want to know how many bedrooms you can build in 220,650 square feet, you divide it by 10,000 square feet, which is 10,000 square feet, 1 bedroom per lot area. So you wind up with 22 bedrooms. I believe that Willow Bend would like to build 12 units with 4 bedrooms. So that would be 48 bedrooms. So they would be 48 bedrooms minus 22 is 26 bedrooms over the flow bylaw limit. So what would they have to do?
It's not allowed.
I can't say.
It's
Okay.
not allowed.
Okay,
It's not in, so this paragraph H, if everybody accepts that it's the total land use, wetlands and upland, the 22-bedroom count is correct. But
okay, that's as far as we can go. So we can approve.
Without relief, right?
We can approve H. Does anybody not approve?
I don't like the words without relief.
You don't like what?
The words without relief.
It's under the provision of Chapter 108, the subject property is limited to 22 bedrooms. If I get
What is it? I
outvoted,
don't know what you don't like, an H.
because it's implying that this is this is allowed with relief. It's not. It's not.
Yeah, the bylaw is a wall. You can't go through it, so there's no relief to go through.
No, it's, this, we're just talking about, is this a true statement? Does this apply to Cranberry Point?
I don't want to see without the words "without relief" in there.
Wait a minute, I didn't.
It's allowed 22
words
bedrooms.
are-
That's it.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
Oh,
Just take out the word
without, okay, well, I think where that was going was variance.
A waiver, yes, yes,
Yeah, okay. No, we,
yeah.
yeah,
But
okay.
I see where that's going, and I don't
Okay,
like the
oh,
direction.
Okay, I understand that, okay. We should remove without relief.
Right.
And vote. Now, is everybody happy with that?
With H.
Okay, so, okay.
I don't actually see what's wrong with the language, because the way people do business, there is a potential for some relief, maybe.
Yes,
So
there
if we don't
is.
say it, we're saying there is no relief possible.
Well,
If there is a potential for that to happen, why would you not include
Great
it?
discretion of the sewer commission,
Well, that's right.
yeah.
But if they have the discretion, that could mean there would be some relief, potentially.
Okay, so you're saying no?
No, I'm saying no, I think the
Okay.
language is fine.
Okay. All those who do not want without relief in their vote.
I don't want without relief in it.
Okay, I don't
Strike
either.
it?
Strike it, yeah.
Okay,
I would strike.
so what do we have here? We've got
This-
4-1? So do we note that as 4-1, yes, and 1 no?
Okay.
Mary, tell me what we do.
Yeah.
It's a straw poll. We haven't taken the official vote. It's a
No.
straw poll.
So wait, where am I now?
You go
So we're back to
E.
F.
Or F, I mean.
For the people who are going to vote for this, you want that language in there. I've just explained why I'm going to vote no. I have my 3 reasons. I don't want F in there, but you guys decide.
Those are sticking issues from my point of view.
Yeah.
And you're violating two bylaws or two conditions, and it's,
I mean, we might let them go ahead and make the decision and then vote against it. Do you know what I mean? That's what would happen.
We don't have, my understanding is, we can say what we think should be, but we don't have any authority over flow-neutral bylaw. It's going to be the purview of
It's
the
a
sewer.
town regulation. It does not say in the flow neutral bylaw. If you read it,
I
it does
have
not
it.
say this authority falls under. This is a town regulation. We heard testimony saying it needed to be tweaked. Okay, it needs to be tweaked, okay? But this is the law of the land that we have now. Remember what I
This is
said?
what we have now, yes.
It was reviewed by town council, right? It was put on the warrant, it was voted for at town meeting, and it went to the AG. It's our law. So people can say it's a dysfunctional document, but they cannot negate it just because they opined that they don't like it.
The only way they can change it is change the law.
Is change it.
Good, good.
This is what we have to work with.
Just give me a minute here. What the hell? No.
See what they do.
All right. All those who are in favor of letter F, project satisfies the requirements. How many say yes, how many say no? I am saying no.
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 Mary, you're a no?
I'm a no.
No.
No?
No.
Well, Dale, you're not voting.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you can't vote, that's right.
You can just smile.
And you, Mike?
I guess I don't know the answer. I can't argue with that.
It's a requirement if you're gonna vote and approve the project. Michael, that's what that is. That's a
Has
standard
to
language.
respond.
Yeah.
To say yes. I know you wanna say yes, Mike.
Well, yeah, I guess apparently it doesn't apply, so I guess I would have to agree.
For number F?
We have 4 no's.
Yeah, I'm going with it.
You're going to go with it, 5 no's. In that section where it lists all the categories that you have to, in a special permit, water quality, all these things,
You can't approve this special permit without F.
you have to cite reasons why this applies, why.
Right.
Why, this is not, you're not, water quality, it's fine, this is fine, there's no traffic, this is fine, and so on, the whole list. And if something doesn't apply, for whatever reason, you say does not apply, but you have to respond to each and every one of
Yes.
those special conditions, special permit conditions.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so G, okay, the original special permit, 1987, is conditioned on maintaining a minimum 100-foot buffer strip from either edge of Sampson Mill Road and Quiniquisette Avenue, left in its existing vegetative state, except for entrance areas, golf course underpass, golf course areas shown on the filed plans. That is my recollection, is a correct statement.
I just would put in the special, I just would say, I don't know if it's the original special.
Let me go on. The submitted site plans for Cranberry Point indicate a buffer strip totaling 65 feet, I recall that. Well, I don't know this part, between the first condominium and the edge of Quiniquisette Avenue, which is less than the 100 feet required. We had a big conversation about that.
No, everything is right, that I don't know if it was the original special permit or it was the special permit as amended. And so,
I believe it was.
I believe it was 100 all
I think
the
it was
way.
amended. That came in at a different date. So I would say the special permit as amended.
If I can remember, yeah.
So when was it amended?
It doesn't really matter.
Well, what are you saying? The original special permit, 1987? How does this?
I would use this language, the special permit as amended is conditioned on.
Oh, without saying the original special. Well, what
I would-
permit
I
are we
would have to
talking
find-
about?
I would
You
have
don't
to-
know.
Right, I would have to read the 1987 to see if the 100-foot is in there. Because it's my recollection that it was an amendment. It wasn't the original.
Okay, would you,
I will find out.
okay, so we're going to circle
Mary will
that
do more
part
research.
there. So something is conditioned on maintaining a minimum 100-foot buffer strip from, does that make sense to you?
Yep.
The edge of Sampson?
Everything else I think is fine in that
Okay, the
paragraph.
65 feet, okay, I don't know what section, I could look that up, section 9352 of the zoning bylaws. Finds that section 9.352 of the bylaw in place at the time of the original special permit approval stated, at the time of the original special permit, that means 1987 or 85?
85. Here it is.
Uh,
Oh,
Well-
nope, it is the original special permit.
Well-
Requires a 100-foot buffer strip.
Chances are,
It wasn't amended?
town planner would know.
It's true, it's true, it's true. All right, so keep it as is.
All right, so section 9.352 of the zoning laws, do you know about that? Because I don't. That this is a quote.
Yeah, so 9,
Are you going to look that up, that this is a quote? I mean, I'm looking at the wording. I don't know whether it's a quote. I mean, I believe it's a quote, but
I mean, I'd have to
the
look up this,
language
I would have to
makes-
look up the special permit,
the
but I'm sure it's
language
right.
makes sense to me.
352.
That's a good point. I don't remember that point
A
being
buffer-
raised.
Right, so by the bylaw, a buffer strip of land equal in width to the front yard requirement of the underlying zoning district will be created along the entire perimeter of the parcel.
Where are you?
I'm in the 1985 bylaw.
Okay.
And then you have to look up the dimensional requirements.
I'm just reading the quote, and it sounds right to me. The meaning, the words sound, the buffer strip shall be considered part of the open space. I know that to be true. The buffer strip shall be maintained in its
Yeah.
natural state or landscaped if, in the opinion of the planning board, it's necessary to protect privacy of adjoining landowners and shall not be used for parking or, very good, or organized recreational activities. The planning board may require a buffer strip in excess of the minimum requirement depending on the use of adjoining land. I think that's very good. It's just, he's
Yep.
saying it's a quote.
The dimension, and the dimensional the dimensions that are being referenced here, 65 feet, 40 feet, all that is
Oh,
right.
continuing on, okay.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, applicable under the 85 bylaw, I wouldn't know.
Yep, it is.
Okay, so this is right?
Yep.
Okay. Which would adequately protect the privacy of adjoining landowners and is not being used for parking, okay, or organized rec.
I mean, I'll double check that quote from the special permit.
The
I'm
board
sure it's
finds that
fine.
60-foot does not derogate from the purpose and intent of the bylaw or special permit and exceeds the minimum requirements of the applicable zoning criteria, and hereby authorizes a 60-foot buffer between the edge of Quiniquisette and the limits of development on the subject parcel. Okay, well, it's familiar to me. I couldn't speak to under the 85 bylaw.
Yep, I looked it up.
It is.
Yep.
Okay.
I think everything in G, not striking out anything or changing everything in G is fine.
Okay. All those in favor of G?
Aye.
Aye. Yes. H, we've already discussed, and it was it 4-1, or was it, you?
4-1.
I'm going to stay where I am. I like without relief.
You're against it?
He wants to keep without relief. It's a 4-1-0
Oh, he wants to
vote.
keep with, okay. Okay. let me
Everybody
make a
else
note of
wants
that.
to strike without relief.
Admittedly, now that I've practically memorized the damn flow bylaw, it is poorly written. It is really poorly written. And I can't believe that it passed town council's inspection.
I disagree with you. I disagree with you. I think that if you read the purpose and intent, it clarifies everything. There's this funky paragraph in there that probably
I know the
should be
paragraph.
taken out. And then who enforces it and how it gets, the rules and regulations of enforcing it, that needs to be put into that bylaw. How those regulations get made, and then somebody needs to make those regulations. But,
Okay, let's go on to I. The board finds that the subject parcel and surrounding bog system contemplated in the applicant's mitigation package are within or adjacent to areas mapped as moderate pre-contact archaeological sensitivity areas determined from a town-wide pre-contact sensitivity survey. This has got to be this is a condition.
Are you asking?
What's that?
No, it's not a condition. Wait, wait.
It's a
just-
condition.
Later on, you put it as a
Yes,
condition.
later on, it's a condition.
But here, it doesn't mention the condition. We're just saying that we're accepting his comments.
Okay, I say this is a good paragraph. Anybody object to this?
Nope.
No.
Okay. Mike? Okay. 5-4. 5-2. Jay, the board finds that the proposed stormwater sediment forebay proposed within the 65-foot buffer strip along Quiniquisette Avenue will capture and pre-treat stormwater before it enters the wetland system in and around the subject parcel. That's very good. I think Ed has made that very clear, too. And did Matt Eddy. All those in favor of this?
Number J?
Number J,
Yep.
yes, Mike? Yes,
Yep.
for me. Everyone, yes. 5 yes. Okay. The submitted site plans were reviewed by the planning board's consulting engineer Ed Pesci, who provided written responses to the planning board. You know, I don't remember the dates, but I'm taking that as correct. Three dates. The board finds that the applicant was responsive to the engineer's comments and made satisfactory revisions to the submitted plans. They definitely did. The board accepts the recommendation of the consulting engineer to recommend approval. In his December 6, 23 letter transmitted as an email to Evan Lair, Community Development Director, the consulting engineer wrote. We can just read that comment. I remember him saying all this. When he says, I would recommend approval of these plans with the condition that all the Pesci engineering comments are satisfactorily addressed. This is where I get confused, because we're supposed to be determining each finding whether it's a correct statement. A correct statement. Is it factually correct? Should it be in the document or shouldn't it be in the document?
I think K is fine.
What?
I think K is fine.
Okay, then answer this.
As long as you
I would
have,
recommend approval of these plans, even though something does not,
what you can do is you can put a condition that,
okay, that's what we've done.
that the final plans are approved by our engineer,
Yeah.
Yes.
right? Because we can't approve them because we've closed the public hearing, right? But we
Right.
can delegate that responsibility to the engineer. So you make it a condition that the final plans are approved by the town engineer, the planning board engineer.
So we can't put that in the quote, that's going to be a condition?
That's a condition.
Okay. All those in favor of K?
Aye.
Aye, aye. All 5 yes. L, due to changes made to the development plans to remove to the maximum extent practical impacts to bordering vegetated wetlands, on-site updates to the drainage and grading plans need to be made to the satisfaction of the consulting engineer. That was one of the things that he left open. So that's what he said. And so that is a correct statement. All those in favor?
Aye.
Wait, I'm reading it.
What's that?
I'm reading it.
It's exactly right.
So that would have to be followed up with a condition, too.
Condition, I believe it
Okay.
is a condition. M, the project on the subject parcel as well as bog restoration contemplated in the plans falls within the jurisdiction of the Mashpee Conservation Commission and requires an issuance of an order of conditions. That is a correct statement.
I agree.
Yeah.
Everybody agree?
Yep.
All unanimous? And the board finds that the subject parcel is within the jurisdictional buffer of the Mashpee Conservation Commission. The 12 condominiums proposed on the subject parcel and the bog restoration contemplated in the plans require review and approval by the Conservation Commission. Additionally, the board finds that due to the subject parcel's existence within the jurisdictional buffer of the Mashpee Conservation Commission, the project is exempt from the requirements of the Chapter 175 Mashpee Tree Preservation General Bylaw. That is correct, because we do not have jurisdiction and conservation land, or, you know.
You know,
Yeah, I know.
Yes, you know.
That's something I
You
do
wrote
know.
it.
So everyone in favor, yes?
Yes. Yep.
5 yes. Now, here's the language. Here is the very language that we're talking about. Oh. In conformance with the provisions of Article 6, Section 174-24C2 of the zoning bylaw, the planning board finds that the proposal will not adversely affect public health or safety, will not cause, if you want to stop, do you want to, well, stop me if you feel this is not correct. Will not adversely affect public health or safety, will not cause excessive demands on community facilities, will not significantly decrease surface or groundwater quality or air quality.
Hold.
Hold. Okay, that's where you're not going.
That's where it doesn't, because it doesn't comply with the flow neutral
Yeah.
bylaw, whose purpose is to protect our water. We can't make that finding. Not
Okay.
about it's about the water quality, not the air quality.
Yeah,
The water
so it'd be
quality.
will not significantly decrease surface or groundwater quality.
I can't make that finding.
So, I mean, we know realistically with a plant, it will, as opposed to a septic system, it will decrease or will aid, will make surface water better, but it's not, it's.
It's a flow neutral
it's the flow
bylaw.
neutral.
It's not a nitrogen loading bylaw.
Yeah.
It's a flow neutral bylaw.
Air quality will not have significant adverse impact on wildlife habitat. Was there anything in the LEC that said that it will not adversely affect wildlife?
So I can't find that it will not have significant adverse impacts on wildlife habitat or estuarine systems, because we have impacted those systems. They're nitrogen polluted, those estuarine systems. The nitrogen program is an estuary program,
Right.
and that's why we have a flow neutral bylaw. So I can't make a finding that it will not have significant impact on wildlife habitat or estuarine systems.
We don't know. We really don't know.
The flow neutral bylaw is meant to clean up our estuaries.
Yeah.
So if it's not in compliance with the flow neutral bylaw, then you can't make a finding that the
So basically, what you're saying, everything stems from the flow neutral bylaw. If you're not in compliance with that,
That and that it has to be in, yes. And it also has to be in compliance with our regulations. And because it's over the bedroom count, that's remember town council said that's a regulation. Our special permit is a regulation. That, because I asked him, can you approve a special permit modification to a special permit that's not in compliance? Like, how do you say no to that? And he said the special permit is considered a town regulation. And if you're not, if you're not consistent with the requirements of that special permit from how many years ago, who cares? You can deny the special permit modification.
okay, so we have, the rest of us haven't voted on this because we're thinking. So we've got section,
So
will
you're-
not adversely affect public health, we have that circled. Will not significantly decrease surface or groundwater quality, circled. Because Mary's a no on this at this point. Air quality, not a problem. We don't know, I don't know whether it will have significant impact on wildlife habitat. Okay, I got to pass on that one. I don't know. Estuary systems,
I have a circle on that.
yeah. Traffic flow is not an issue, I don't think. Is it?
Some people complain to me about the traffic. from that area
Is it
during the
coming out
summer.
of 275 that there's some kind of, well, there's plenty of,
So they
Sightlines.
I do think that their engineer addressed those, because
I
the
think
site,
so.
they did the sight lines.
Yeah.
waterways, let's see, what is this? Fisheries, public lands, or neighboring properties will not significantly decrease surface or groundwater, will not have significant adverse impact on wildlife habitat, estuary systems, traffic flow, traffic safety, waterways, fisheries, public land, or neighboring properties.
Will not cause excessive.
Okay, there's no noise, there's no vibration, there's no, I don't know, there's no electrical disturbance. Radioactivity or glare. Oh, we're not putting any wires up, we don't have any lighting plan. Will not destroy or disrupt any species listed as rare, endangered, or threatened by the Mashpee. They would have spoken up if this were the case, would they not?
Right.
They didn't. Or any known historic or archaeological site.
Hold.
Well, but if we've got, Mary, if we've got a condition in there that it has to be done, can't we say that we have to do a ground survey? Or whatever the program is, follow PAL, whatever you're saying there. Doesn't that mean with the condition that they have to comply, so we don't know? We don't know. We don't know that it's endangered or threatened, any known historic or archaeological site. I mean, what do you say, people?
They have to do a study,
You do the study, you can't say a priori, meaning before you know, you can't say.
I just
How
don't.
many people feel that way?
We don't know.
Yeah, I
Okay, we
think
don't-
it's a condition.
It's a condition, we will know when they do the study. So if it fails, then we have to
Address it.
address it. So I can't say no on that right now. I mean, what is the purpose of a condition?
Exactly, when it's not enforced.
Oh, well, okay, that's what I heard, but,
And since it's the tribe's historic preservation officer, and they are now a federally recognized tribe, I am not going there. Granted, the comment came in very late, and I'm sure it could have been done, and the whole time that we had I get it. If it
that's
came-
pretty sad, if you're saying that, you know more about the town decisions than I do, if the conditions are not met. So we just blow it off and say, what are we sitting here for if we don't follow the conditions?
That's why you, exactly.
No. I wish somebody would tell me if we do follow I mean, I have an issue with
I'm licking my wounds.
Pompanesett.
I'm licking my wounds.
All right, so Mary's the only one who's opposed to saying no on that?
I have a hold on the historic and archaeological
Well, hold,
sites.
I mean, what do you mean a hold for,
I have that circled.
oh,
Like you guys, it sounds like you guys are fine with that being resolved with a condition.
yes.
With a condition.
I think it will be. I mean, one
Okay.
thing I have to say about Willow Bend, whatever other people may think, I do believe they will follow through on these conditions.
If we didn't think so, we wouldn't be here.
I agree.
And is the
I would be.
condition predicated on the tribe approval or verification?
Well, they have to tell us, maybe Willow Bend already knows how to do an archaeological study.
They did one.
So they'll
They did one
do,
already.
yeah, I'm sure they've
Yeah,
done
there's a
one.
system that they have. It just, the comment came in very late.
Yeah, it's too
and-
bad that it had to go this long.
It did come in very late. As we know, it was something in a newspaper article that kind of brought that up. And anyways, I'm
All right, so.
not going to fight you on it.
Okay, so continuing on, no vibration, no electrical disturbance, I don't believe radioactivity or glare, will not destroy or disrupt any species listed as rare, endangered, or threatened That's not going to happen because Mashpee, Massachusetts Natural Heritage Program would have come in on this.
Yeah, it's not in there.
You're saying you're holding on archaeological site. It will not produce amounts of trash, refuse, or debris in excess of the town's landfill and waste disposal capacities, hardly. Will properly dispose of stumps, I'm sure about that, construction debris, hazardous materials, and other waste. Will provide adequate off-street parking, I'm sure of that. Will not cause excessive erosion or cause increased runoff into neighboring properties. Doesn't the stormwater management plan prevent that?
Yeah, that's all set.
Yeah.
That's all set.
So everything, let's see,
Everything to the end, I think, is fine.
yes, so everything is, so the only things that you're pointing out will not adversely affect, you say you're holding on that, will not adversely affect public health.
I didn't say public health. I don't know, did somebody
Oh,
else?
what did you say?
Not significantly increase
Okay.
surface or groundwater quality. Will not significantly adverse.
Does anyone
adverse-
have an objection to any of these,
Nope.
No, just a condition on
as long as it's a condition? Yeah, okay. All those in favor, or
I don't know what you're talking
feel
about.
O is correct?
I don't know what you, just repeat what you're saying, Karen.
We're saying, as long as we have conditions, and we do, as we'll go forward and show you,
You're saying, are you
About a
okay
known
with
his-
those as long as we have the conditions?
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I still don't understand what you're saying.
Okay.
Just say it to me again.
We're saying that we're okay with this language, like known historic or archaeological site, as long as there is a condition.
Yes, okay.
And you're saying, forget the conditions, because
I'm
they
not
don't
gonna-
follow
I'm
the
not-
law anyway. That's your bag.
I'm not gonna fight you on it.
Okay.
Right, I'm not gonna fight you on it.
Okay, so all those in favor of all this, think, you know,
I don't,
everything's
that's
by
what I don't
condition.
understand. What, you're saying that you can, everybody here feels that they can make a finding on the historic or archaeological site.
Conditioned upon being approved by,
But the other ones regarding decrease in surface and groundwater quality and impacts on estuarine systems, those you're not voting on right now. I have holds on those.
Yeah.
will not significantly decrease surface or groundwater quality. I believe that's true, but you're saying, and I understand what you're saying, the flow neutral precludes,
That's not-
trumps it.
The whole purpose of the flow neutral bylaw is to do that, and if it's not in compliance with the flow neutral bylaw, we can't make that finding.
Yeah.
Isn't the condition to be come in compliance with the flow neutral bylaw?
Well, he's got that in the
You can't-
condition.
So if it's a condition, then that's okay.
I'm saying it's not strong enough for me to support.
Okay.
I think it's
All
strong
right.
enough for me.
I'm good with what we said, we voted on. So 4 people are for it, and Mary's got a hold on something here.
Well, that's the historic and archaeological site.
Yes, historic.
Okay, so what are we doing will not significantly decrease surface or groundwater quality?
Well, you said no.
Right.
You- And we,
I think Rob said no, too.
okay, let me just,
So
Well, if
this
you
has
look
to
at it
do with
as a
the
flow
neutral
neutral.
by flow?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I say no too then.
yeah, I say no too.
I don't want to disturb that at all.
Okay, so-
We're getting money for that, and the most important thing is for
Okay,
the
so
source.
let's see, what is it?
And with that,
It's-
you have to circle in the estuarine system, because the flow neutral bylaw all has to do with nitrogen management that comes from the estuary programs.
Where is that?
Right below it.
It's right below it.
Oh,
I don't think we can say anything about wildlife habitat, but we can not find regarding estuarine
okay,
systems.
all those who disagree with will not significantly decrease surface or groundwater quality, and will not have significant impact, on
Adverse
estuary
impact.
systems. How many feel that is a true statement?
I can't
I thought-
find that. Michael's gonna,
I thought that was one of the things that we looked at as the condition of being in compliance with the water flow bylaw.
Flow bylaw,
And if it
okay.
was, if that's a condition that that flow bylaw works, then that's a condition and I'm
See,
fine with this.
we may know what the flow bylaw says, and we may have interpreted it the way we've interpreted it, but we are not the ultimate decision maker about flow neutral.
Right now, we
That's right.
are.
Yeah, 'cause
Right now, we are, because
Yeah.
it doesn't say who are the other people who do it.
Well, it does say it in this
It's-
document here.
It says that it's a town regulation, and we can't approve something if it's not in compliance with a town regulation.
Okay.
that don't mean that the conservation can't give a variance though. I mean, we could vote against this, but it's,
Yeah, they've always got the out for a variance.
right?
And the fact that Willow Bend has the capacity to add this to their, list of homes.
Yeah, like that, that's all I
Yeah.
believe, but
Yeah.
I'm against
All right,
this.
I'm really getting tired now. I got up at 6 o'clock. Mary, tell me what we're doing here right now. You're not agreeing with,
I can't find that the project will not significantly decrease surface or groundwater quality.
okay,
I can't find that the project will not have significant adverse impact on estuarine systems.
okay. How many agree with Mary?
Me,
1, 2, 3. Do you, Mike, or not?
We can't find that it will either, because we have conditions that we're adding in.
I know what you're
If they-
saying.
If they go through with the conditions, and we do that, and then the conditions determine that, in fact, it didn't significantly decrease it, how can we?
Significantly decreased it, but what Mary's saying is, the answer has to be, it does, because it violates the flow neutral bylaw.
yeah.
10,000, one bedroom per 10,000 square foot of lot area. I don't know, we just get hung up in words here right now, I feel. Okay, so we voted on that, and everything else, and she's got known historic or archaeological site. We're not voting against that.
No,
So that's a yes for 4 of us.
As long as it's a condition.
Or yes, it is a condition. Okay, so I guess we better go through the conditions. It's not much left to go.
Okay.
Okay, so the project shall be constructed in conformance with the following plans. So if this is everything, if this is current, all these different pages,
So we have to add that the final plans are approved by
the final plans are
the
what?
final plans are approved by our board engineer.
Yes. But let's see, where should that go? I guess it could go right there. The
It's
project
right under it. It's B.
under where?
Thank you.
And just
The
a note,
applicant shall
those are-
submit updated and final grading and drainage plans to the planning board for its files to the
Well,
satisfaction.
that's just limited to grading and drainage.
It's my understanding those are the only sheets that need revision. However, I just want to note that the reason that those are highlighted is solely because I didn't want to reference sheets that would have a future revision date on it.
Right.
So I'm hesitant to, and typically we include the sheets with specific revision dates. But in the event, since there's like a contemplation of Ed's final review and approval, I'm hesitant to include specific sheets because the revision dates will change thereafter. So those might need to change or go.
The applicant shall submit shall submit updated and final grading and drainage plans to the planning board for its file to the satisfaction of the planning board's consulting engineer. That's a condition. Well, what you're saying, we need that he will approve, you mean you want it global, Mary?
I think,
I think that's fine.
Okay.
I think
Any
it's fine. I think I was
objection to-
wrong.
Any
I think-
objection to
I
B?
think that's fine.
Grading, drainage, and utilities plans.
Pardon me?
Grading, drainage, and utilities plans.
Grading, drainage,
Utilities.
and utility, we should add, and utility plans?
yeah.
Yeah, okay, good, I'm glad you caught that.
I think we should call it specifically the sheets that need to be approved,
Which sheets need to be approved?
which is probably C4.0 through C4.3 and C5.0 through C5.2.
Say it again. In parentheses, what are the sheets?
C4.0 through C4.3 and C5.0 through
Said it too fast.
C5.2. So that series, the 4 and the 5s.
Oh, all the 4s and all the 5s?
Correct. I'll probably list the
sheets.
specific revision dates for each of
All
the rest of the sheets.
4s and 5s, okay. Okay, C, to mitigate the impacts of the bedroom that exist and that are proposed in the project that exceed 853, the applicant shall, that's a correct statement, 1 and 2. All those approve? All yes?
Yep.
5 yes. D, the applicant shall demonstrate, here's the condition, compliance with the requirements of Chapter 108 Flow Neutral Bylaw to the satisfaction of the Sewer Commission or other relevant authority. It is the Sewer Commission that they have to convince. Mary?
To get a waiver.
They could give a waiver.
To get a waiver, but it's not the sewer commission that says you're in compliance with the flow neutral bylaw. The flow neutral bylaw doesn't say that. It's a town regulation. We are acting as the town at this point,
Right.
Yes.
okay? And if it's written wrong, fine, but that's our law that we have right now. And we can try to spin it off, oh, it's this person that's responsible. No, right now, we're responsible for this. So it's, it's a condition that's in there, I'm not gonna be able to find the stuff on the other page, so whatever conditions go forward, I'm voting no on the whole thing, because I can't find,
Okay.
I can't make the finding in an O. So you can put whatever conditions you want that make you feel
Well,
good from this
we
point on,
didn't-
but.
We didn't all agree with every finding there. I mean, you're not alone on a couple of those things.
Oh, a couple of them, yeah.
Yeah. Is it a correct statement that you have, if one of those elements in that big recitation of issues, if one of those things is relevant to the plan, and you cannot comply with that, then does the plan fail?
Yeah.
If you can't agree on one?
No. I mean, you can't, and this is what Dennis taught me way in the beginning. You can't just vote no because you don't like the plan. You have to have a reason
Okay.
for voting no. You
All right.
can't just say, oh, I don't like the color they're
Okay,
gonna paint the
D,
house.
let's move on. D is a correct statement. They have to demonstrate compliance. If they can't demonstrate it, it fails.
But it's to the satisfaction of the sewer commission or other relevant authority.
Well, I don't know who the other relevant
I
authority would
don't
be.
know, and I don't think it's the sewer commission that
well,
runs this, but.
But it says right in the agreement, in the flow neutral bylaw, the sewer commission,
Does the waiver.
they can waive it.
But they don't determine whether you're in compliance or not. I believe that right now, because it's a bylaw, it's us. We're the special permit granting authority.
Well, I'd like to get educated on this because
Well,
I don't. I'll tell you, this job is harder than
Well,
practicing law.
they would have to demonstrate compliance with the sewer commission before anything else anyways.
not necessarily.
Who else would they determine compliance with if it's not?
Exactly. Right now, it's us.
You're going to tell them they're in compliance with the requirement of the flow neutral bylaw? You are? You
Yeah,
can
because I
determine
read
that?
it. I read it.
Well, we all read it.
I read it. And it's limited in bedrooms.
Okay. I guess I didn't realize you were a sewer commission expert.
So I have a master's in environmental science. I've worked professionally in community development for 19 years.
Well,
I've sat on this board for 15 years. Are you kidding me? I think I'm qualified.
Yeah.
I think I am. I have a degree in physics from Boston University. I think I'm qualified.
Write it down for me, because I'll forget all that stuff.
I'd rather say it to you, Mike.
You're sounding like somebody else who comes to this board and speaks.
Let's move on.
All right, okay, so
I have no comment on D.
Okay,
I mean, I'm not
I
going to
can-
vote for it. I have no comment on
I
D.
can take off our other relevant authority because I don't know who other relevant authority is. So I'm going to say yes on D. Do you agree with D?
If you should say to the satisfaction of the relevant authority, because it's really not determined.
Well, I'm just reading what it says in here.
Okay, all right, I'm going to leave it alone.
Applicant shall, how many are for this? Are you for D?
Yeah, if it would make, the expert
Taking off
comfortable, you
other
could say,
relevant
and the planning
authority.
board.
It says the sewer commission.
I disagree with D.
Unless he put it in there, well, I don't know why he'd put it in there because I don't know any other relevant authority. Are we
You
the
should just say
relevant?
the relevant authority.
He didn't say that. Jesus. I'm going to say yes because, if my knowledge is wrong, then
Well, it's not wrong if it says sewer commission or other relevant authority. We just don't know who that authority is right now.
who is that? Yeah.
Well, I mean, the planning board, right? Other relative authority is the planning board.
I would guess it's the planning board.
So,
I see.
Say sewer commission and planning board.
yeah, I mean, it comes to us first, and then it goes.
We
to
can only be
sewer
wrong
commission.
once.
No, things can get remanded back. You can go through the whole thing again.
All right, how many people want to keep other relevant authority in here?
I do.
Anybody?
I mean, I'd like to know who that other.
We'd like to know who the hell that person is. I wonder what he had in mind when he wrote other relevant authority, or he was just covering his bases.
Confusing it.
I don't know.
I can tell you.
Nope.
Why don't we just leave it as is?
Okay, all right, there
I mean,
must be a reason. Keep or other relevant authority. I'm
Yep.
going to say yes. 4 people, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah,
1, 2, 3,
Yes.
4. Kind of lame.
it's ambiguous.
4.
And you don't want ambiguous,
What?
It's okay.
It's ambiguous.
Yes, it is.
And you.
And he
you
wrote it that
Eliminate
way.
all of that out.
Yeah. And if there is no other relevant authority, too bad. Or, yeah, how does that hurt us? It doesn't, right?
I don't know.
Okay, all right, now here. The applicant shall demonstrate compliance, okay? By demonstrating one or more of the following. The total land area held in common throughout Willow Bend that has not been conveyed to private property owners area results in less than one bedroom per 10,000 square feet based on all available estimates of existing and planned bedrooms. See, that one is a real problem for me because the way I read the flow bylaw, it's how do I say this? This may be a true statement, but just because the whole universe of Willow Bend has less than 10,000 square feet,
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make it right.
Yeah, I like get rid of that. Yeah.
I don't know where that came from.
It's an argument. It's an argument that developing is good for the environment and adding more
Yeah.
units lowers density.
Yeah.
It's just math. It's a mathematical argument that we don't have to accept. I don't think it hurts
Okay,
taking it
does
out.
that- how does that-
I think it hurts leaving it in. I think it's,
How do you vote on that? You're not sure?
No.
I think you should just stop. I think you should just stop it after the applicant shall demonstrate compliance with the requirement of Chapter 108 flow neutral bylaw to the satisfaction of the sewer commission or other relevant authority, period. You don't have to get into everything else.
Yeah.
Wait, what, you're saying
You-
Roman numeral 1?
D.
No, D.
D, I think you
First-
should just
first
leave the
sentence.
first sentence and then get rid of everything else.
Wait a minute, let me just see. But it's saying, how can Willow Bend has to demonstrate compliance.
So
So you
So
give 'em
if there's an entity that's going to show compliance, right? These are the arguments that are leading to showing compliance. That's not our job. We don't make those arguments. This is like leading the subject, leading the relevant authority on this. This is how we feel. I don't think we need to put those things in there. They're arguments.
We're telling.
They're
the-
arguments that
We're
the
telling
project
Willabend,
proponent.
here are arguments you can use.
Right, and that's not our job. We don't argue. It's just, they have these arguments. They can use them if they want. We don't have to put them in our decision.
You're right, Mary, you're right. We shouldn't tell them what the arguments are. They can,
They figure them out.
I wonder if I'll be able to talk about this when this thing is over.
Yes, I have a lot to say.
I would like to know some things.
I have a lot to say. I've been keeping my mouth shut.
All right, so how many people want to strike 1, 2, and 3 Roman numeral?
I think you should just keep the first sentence only. Get rid of 1, 2, and 3, but also that second, given the parcel size, 22 bedrooms are allowed on the parcel by right. We do not want to state that,
Why not?
because we're not, because.
You
if
said
they-
we're the authority here. Okay, now you've really lost me.
Because I really think it's only 15 bedrooms that are allowed, to tell you the honest truth.
No, I don't agree. I agree it's 22. I mean, I've thought about this.
But we don't need to put it there. We don't need it there. We don't need it there.
Okay, you're saying do not tell them how we're thinking. Just simply say, the applicant shall demonstrate compliance with the requirements of Chapter 108 Flow Neutral Bylaw to the satisfaction of the Sewer Commission.
Right, just let them do that.
I agree.
They're only going to do it by demonstrating ways to do it, so you don't have to say that.
Right. And we
Yeah,
might
but empty.
inadvertently cause a conflict.
Yeah.
How is that? Because they're going to fight about whether it's 22 or 15, which I don't understand 15, but that's another question.
Upland, wetland.
Okay, so what do you say, Rob?
No, there was the division of wetland and upland. You know, do you include it or not?
Yeah.
So that's
all this one bedroom and 10,000 square feet, it's, I haven't done any much research on it, and I don't, but there's a lot of calculations of that are upland only. They don't include the wetland.
It doesn't say that in the flow neutral bylaw.
I know, but it talks about Title V and all of that stuff, and I'm not an expert.
Well, what does that
on it.
have to do with,
Because, I don't know, Karen.
Okay,
I'm not uncomfortable, I'm uncomfortable stating that they're allowed 22 bedrooms.
oh,
I
How
know
many
that they're not
people-
allowed more than 22.
how many people want that taken out?
I do.
I don't think it's, I don't care whether it's in or out. I don't think it's necessary.
Sometimes I wonder how much somebody knows on this commission.
That makes me sick to my stomach, Karen, really? That's so insulting.
Well, I mean, there's some people who really do know.
Yeah, well, we all contribute the best we can.
I know, we do.
And this
But I'm
state
maybe trying to help
is
somebody.
set up so that people like us make these decisions to protect our town.
The town, that's what we're working for, the town.
You know, the state statute created this board of citizens. People bring their questions to us to make those decisions. We are empowered by state law. We live in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. We don't live in a dictatorship where professionals make all the decisions. We're citizens. We're fine making this. Don't doubt yourself, Karen. You can do this.
This is the way lawyers think. The glass is always half empty.
Don't go down that road. We're doing good.
All
We're
right, so
almost
how many
there.
people want all that other language, Roman numeral 1, 2, 3, stricken, and want the language of stop it at the application, applicant shall demonstrate compliance with the requirement of Chapter 108 to the satisfaction of the Sewer Commission or other relevant authority, period.
That speaks for itself. That's fine.
All right,
I write it.
okay, so all the rest is stricken. Or other, I gotta, other. Mary, when you learn who the other relevant authority is, please let me know. Okay, so that's
I
D.
can't start going to those meetings too.
E, restore 5.3 acres of cranberry bogs to natural wetland systems identified in the site plans around the perennial stream called Quaker Run, subject to the issuance of an order of conditions from the Mashpee Conservation Commission. Until adequate performance security is posted with the Mashpee Conservation Commission for the scope of the restoration, no building permits shall be issued for this project. Perfect.
Good to me.
Yes,
Yes.
all five, yes. The applicant shall retain the services of Public Archaeology Laboratory, PAL, or similar qualified firm to conduct a site assessment, sometimes referred to as Phase 1 or Phase 1A investigation, I don't know anything about it, of the project site at 275 Quiniquisette Avenue, as well as any of the parcels identified for bog restoration on the submitted site plan with the Wampanoag Tribal Historic Preservation Officer present during any of these site visits. The site assessment should take advantage of the most advanced archaeological technologies available to determine with accuracy the likelihood of any archaeological resources on the sites. Additionally, the scope of work shall include at a minimum. Why do we have to get a pending response from David?
We can't. We can't.
No, we can't.
The public hearing is
We can't get more
closed.
information.
We
Because the
can't.
public hearing is closed.
Yep.
But by saying that we would do
We
a
can
PAL.
say that, we can say the scope of work shall be approved by the
Conservation Commission.
Mashpee, Wampanoag Tribe
Oh,
It's the 6th.
Historic Preservation Officer.
well, are they the only people who can,
They're a legally, they're like so anyways.
so if
When this stuff happens and there's a historic site or an archaeological site of interest, the state's,
Oh, okay. I got
the
it.
state has a historic preservation officer and local tribes have.
okay, so it has nothing to do with conservation?
No, but
Okay.
they have standing
So
in
they're the
this.
decision makers.
So if you just said, additionally, the scope of work shall be approved by the Mashpee Wampanoag Tribe Historic Preservation Officer, that's how he can comment, and we're done.
Okay, give me the sentence. The scope of work shall
Shall
be,
be approved by the Mashpee Wampanoag Tribal Historic Preservation Officer. Prior to any commencement of work. We also want to put something in here that it's like, before any building permits are issued. Right, you want this work done before,
Yeah.
oh, of course.
right?
I'll but put it in.
So so at the beginning, prior to any issuance of a building permit.
Okay. How many are for that language and that whole paragraph?
Can I have a question? The restoration of the bogs are
Is
going to
co-
be simultaneous with building? No?
You have to get a building permit before you can do that.
Right.
Well, the conservation, oh, okay. They can't touch the bogs unless the Conservation Commission gives them a certificate, an order of
Okay.
conditions.
But you can't get a building permit until the archaeological is satisfied.
That's what I'm saying.
But some of the archaeological is going to be in the bog area.
That's true.
Okay. So,
So that's
That's right.
restricted. You can't, you got to complete all the bogs before you.
Very good point. You're
got
absolutely
a-
right.
So,
Get a building
so you're
permit.
good with prior to any issuance of a building permit and prior to any issuance of, or any site work? The commencement of any
I
site
think you would
work?
take commencement of site work, not completion. Once- Just commencement, not completion. You just said all the bogs had to be done. That's not.
So how about, or any commencement of the bog work described in E above?
Okay. Yeah, I just didn't want you to build
Right.
the developer into a box that he has to complete all the bog work before he puts a shovel in the ground for the houses.
Complete the archaeological
Right.
work. Not the bog, well, the bog work, same thing, I was just saying.
But, yeah, you're not gonna,
But to do archaeological work on the bogs, isn't it almost beginning to do labor on the bog to
Yeah.
get the muck out of there and the 100 years of
Right.
peat and whatever is in there?
No, they just do
No,
samples.
no,
of
so
everything.
so the first part of F would say, prior to any issuance of a building permit or the commencement of any work in the commencement of the bog work as described in E above, comma, the applicant shall retain the services of the public archaeological laboratory, blah, blah, blah.
All right,
So
Mary,
before-
okay, yeah.
before there's
To
any
get the
shovels in
service,
the
yeah,
ground.
Okay, that works.
I think that would
okay,
work.
Mary, do me a favor. I'm gonna hold on this till I see your language next time, just on
Okay.
this, okay? Because I was getting tired and I'm getting very,
Well, it's 10:30.
well, I know, but.
You should be tired.
If
I'm
you get up
tired.
at 6, I got up at 6 today.
Can I just help you with one thing?
Yes.
Comment, if I may?
Yes,
Just, I think, Rob, you were just concerned about bog restoration. I think you're all trying to just make sure that the PAL survey is done prior to any work being done. To protect any threat of disturbance of archaeological significant resources, is that
Right.
correct? So PAL can do that before any work gets done.
but they're gonna be digging in the bog, aren't they?
They don't restore the bog, they do sampling.
They
in
just
the land.
sample.
So
Oh,
they don't
okay.
Completely, so just so you understand the scope of what they do.
Okay, they
So
sample the
They
bog.
set up a grid and they do some sampling, representative sampling, to determine if they think, this phase one, think there's some possibility that there's things there. You also added language about the tribal historic preservation officer approving that. I think you want to maybe just, I'll offer this for you to consider. Isn't that making him an approval authority?
Yep.
An approval authority?
They
Don't
are.
you want them to comment on it?
Yeah.
Not approve it, but a comment on it? It's up to you.
You're telling us that they approve it, that the state has given them the power to approve this.
Because they're a federally recognized tribe, it's the federal government that gives them the authority.
The federal government, so
Yeah.
they do approve it.
So it says here, right now, it's before I made the amendment, it says additionally, the scope of work shall include at a minimum, and it says response from David Whedon, right? So why not just say additionally, the scope of work shall be approved by? Because we're saying that we were gonna take what
Yeah,
David Whedon
yeah.
wanted anyways.
Uh-huh.
So I don't think that saying that the scope of work has to be approved by the Mashpee Wampanoag Tribal Historic Preservation Officer before.
Do you need
any
a building
principal
permit
work.
to do an archaeological study?
No.
No, okay, so they can do it, and they're only digging a little bit into the bog, so
I
they can
mean,
do
Ed,
it.
I think is saying it should be reviewed by,
Are you talking about the scope of work of the study?
Yeah.
no,
Okay.
the scope of
Yeah.
work.
I had intended on having you define the scope in this decision so that it was clear and
Right.
unarguable by the applicant.
Well, the scope has to follow the rules of
Yeah.
PAL.
Well, PAL is just a company.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah,
state.
Well, I don't know
yeah, the
what phase,
tribal preservation officer is not going, I mean, they know, once that report comes out and study, what to do with that information. That, whether that falls under their jurisdiction or not, they know that. I'm just saying that the scope of work for PAL, shall be approved by
For
the,
their archaeological survey.
yeah.
Gotcha.
okay. Go ahead, write it.
Yeah.
Let's go to B. That's fine, B's fine, or G's fine, rather, okay. Local preference.
I like that.
H, correct.
Do we want to say anything about construction times?
Yeah.
What do you usually put in there?
No,
About construction time, about what part of the
So
construction?
Dennis has this
no,
conduct.
Start at 7, then you gotta leave, well, you can have overtime, but usually like
The
by 5.
hours of operation of the project.
Yep, and then you can, no Sunday
Yeah, no
works.
Sundays.
Unless they get special
Permission.
permission, because
Who
on
gives
some
them special
jobs,
permission?
they,
Us?
on some jobs, they get something coming in,
Yeah.
and the truck happens to be there on Sunday, and they have
Right.
that couple of guys to unload.
Okay, who gives the special
So
permission?
who do you want to delegate the special permission?
I think the building department, right?
You want the building, or do you want the director of community development?
Well, most of the associations have hours that people are allowed to work
Okay.
certain times a year.
Okay, so.
All right, let's just do the building commissioner,
Yeah, let's say, he could,
because there's sometimes emergencies, like they just have to do
Right,
it.
I mean,
And it's true, they're the one, the building commissioner will be the one to get called
We want to
anyways.
make this H and then.
So the
agreement-
hours of construction are limited to 7 AM to 5 PM, Monday through Saturday, with no work on Sunday allowed without the permission of the building
What's
commissioner.
the,
or holidays.
Or holidays.
what's the end time, 7 to what?
5 PM.
Yeah.
I mean, most crews, they go till like 3,
No weekends,
3:30. I mean,
except,
That's how they have overtime, you have to finish the roof or, whatever.
and remember, this happens, this is a way that if there's a complaint, the building commissioner can look at this special permit and then enforce it.
They have that up in New Seabury, right, the time limits and stuff, right?
We have the regular hours and summer hours.
I-
Saturday till 1 o'clock, not till.
I've also seen other boards and commissions use a Saturday hour too, so 7 to 5 and then 8 to 5 or 8 to 3 on Saturdays.
And we do seven
Half
to
days.
1, that's it.
7 to 1?
Just
Saturday.
people like to have them start later on Saturday so they're not waking up all the neighbors that aren't working.
All right, so the hours are Monday through Friday,
it works half
7
the time.
AM to 5 PM. What are the hours on Saturday? 8?
It should be a little later because people
8 a.m.?
sleep.
Yeah, 8 AM to 2:30.
Let's say 3 PM.
What's the half hour for?
They don't take lunch,
Oh,
they don't take lunch and you work at 2:30. If you take lunch, you gotta work at 3 o'clock. The jobs I've been on, that's what we used to do. We're not gonna take a lunch, so we can leave at 2:30,
Let's give them till 3 in case
Okay.
somebody wants to take lunch. Then no work on Sunday or
Or
holidays unless approved
by the building.
by building commissioner.
inspector.
Okay. Sure he was going to be happy with that one.
okay. Okay, this is now like boilerplate language here. I is fine.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
J, let me just go through this here quickly. I, J, K are all fine.
Right.
Okay with I, J, K?
Yep.
Yep.
5-0, yes. And L, that's just the rule. I'm confused about that. This decision must be recorded. I thought it was 90 days. Okay. Mary, do you know the answer to that?
No, but we can.
I thought it was 90 days from the time we render a decision.
This is not talking about when it's filed with the clerk. It's talking
Oh,
about
filing
after
the
the appeal
clerk.
period is closed, they need to deliver a recorded copy of the permit within 60 days subsequent to the appeal period closing.
Well, I didn't quite get that. I'm not going to have you repeat it, but. Endorsement to the board is, what is endorsement by the board? Saying we approve it without a written, what is endorsement as opposed to approve?
What are you looking at?
What are you asking about?
The decision must be recorded within 60 days of their endorsement, by the board's endorsement.
So you'll sign a decision multiple times. Once
That's the
it'll be
endorsement,
Signed by
this-
one member to say, we've approved it, here's our decision. It's
That's, okay, so that's
You
this.
will endorse it by the full body.
Oh, got it. That's the
subsequent to
signing
closure
of,
an appeal period.
the special permit decision. No?
I didn't hear your question.
I think that
I've been
language
so
is
irrelevant
fine.
for the whole time.
Okay,
It's
but
not
I'm
when
just
it's on.
asking for maybe the next one that comes down the
I have
pike.
felt that way too, Evan. I've been
that
talked
again,
over,
Karen.
I've been argued with, I've been slammed.
What's that?
here.
I'm just trying to
What
hear
is
your
it,
question.
what is it that we're endorsing? The language, is it the special permit decision?
Yes, the endorsement would be subsequent to the closure of an appeal period where you endorse the process for recording at the registry of deeds.
Yep, the language is
Okay,
fine, Karen.
okay,
The language is.
all right, so, okay, 5-1, 5-0. Okay, and expiration is fine. Incorporates by reference herein. Okay, so. Okay,
So why don't I type up my,
just that, yeah.
stuff for you, Karen, and.
Okay, well, maybe
You can-
everybody wants it too.
Well, I'll give it to you as chair.
That's page 8.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it to you as chair. I think that's a good conduit.
Madam Chair, can I ask you a quick question, not related to this?
Sure,
I was thinking while I was sitting here about your site meeting coming up
yes,
at 47474.
right. We'll meet on the
I-
corner.
Yeah, well, I
on a
was thinking
Schuman-
it would be a good idea to meet at the current EJ Prescott site to see their operation and give you a perspective.
Where is that?
It's 89 Industrial Drive, and I have an email prepared to Chris Corain to ask him if he could ask his client to do that.
That's a good idea.
89 Industrial Drive?
89 Industrial Drive, it's
Page
in the industrial
2.
park across from
Page 1.
Mashpee Commons. So
So
it's in
our
that,
car will follow you there?
well, we can meet at 474, then go there, whichever way you want, but I need to find out, is 9 o'clock okay? Did they prefer us to be there at 10 o'clock? You know,
I'm sorry, Ed, I must be really tired.
Wait, we're
Why
not
are
done
we-
with this, Ed. Hold on. Why don't you do that through Karen Leslie in the office?
I just got to ask the board if you would like to meet, that's all.
Whatever you want to do, just send it to Karen.
I did,
and
I'm CCing Karen.
She'll send it out and we'll be there.
Yep.
We're not done with this, Ed, sorry, we're still. So, I'll send you the, and
Yeah,
so we'll keep
okay.
it on the agenda for the next time. Is everybody here?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is next time.
Do we want to do natural resources tonight?
Absolutely not.
You don't need to do anything other than know that I've merged the chapters.
I think it looks great. What do you think, Mary?
Oh, no, we should go through it. I think that we should go through
I
it, but
think-
not now.
Okay,
Not
all right,
now.
good, all right.
I
think
mean,
we're-
we might have to do like a special meeting for it. I mean, what's next? I think we're booked solid in the first Wednesday in May.
I think it looks great to me.
I do have just a few things.
Well, then it shouldn't take long at all.
I don't think it's gonna take long at all.
Oh, so let's see, what did we miss?
So we'll continue this to the next meeting?
Okay.
Good with everybody, right?
Okay, we didn't, Ed, did you have any project reviews and inspections other than 474?
Nothing else.
Okay.
Thank you.
None,
Good job,
all
Ed.
right. Okay, well, you got Rodney's letter, or you heard it.
I heard it.
$75 for 30 years.
Yeah, that's not bad.
$75 a year, which is quite
75.
amazing.
Yes.
Next, shall we do a harbor management report next time?
But do everything next time.
No, not necessary.
I think-
Housing production update, you went to affordable housing yesterday?
Yeah, you'll
Five-
have a plan to review by mid-May.
Mid-May?
It'll probably be available sooner.
Okay. Has some of the market
Oh,
rate
we won't
stuff?
do it the first
Has that been
Wednesday.
taken out, the
Well, now
market?
that May 1st is packed, I'll anticipate transmitting a draft for you to begin reviewing for
Okay.
final adoption, probably for your second meeting in May. I would imagine the draft will be completed before then,
Uh-huh,
and I could transmit it to you, but I would advise we wait till
okay,
second meeting in May, just given the large agenda on May 1.
okay. Are there any board member committee reports?
None.
Nothing. So a motion to adjourn, please.
Motion adjourned.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.